And we are live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. My name is Tony Vicenda. I'm Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP, which is a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy, and the Bardic College of Content Creation. Our hope and desire is to help amazing designers find great players who love their games and help amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. We do that in a lot of different ways, but our favorite way to do that is just sitting down with the designers to play those games because it's fun. It's fun to do. You should do it when you get the chance. Sometimes the designer may not be available, and you should just play it with your friends. Tonight, we are playing The Zone, which is not the first time we've played it on stream, but I am very excited to be playing it again because it is about to finally go to Kickstarter after almost 3 years of being mostly done, but still getting better and better all the time. Let's hear from the creator, and that is Raph D'Amico. Raph, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, and tell us a little bit about The Zone.
Hello, friends. Yeah, I'm Raph D'Amico. I'm the maker of The Zone, and tonight we're going to go on a magical and beautiful, but also horrible and disgusting and possibly fleshy pizza-involved journey into a place that's going to tear our characters apart and leave only one alive, and that's the vibe of the game. It's a rules light, play to lose, surreal horror RPG that's just easy to play out of the box as a one shot, and that you're just gonna give you a really creepy time in about the duration of a movie. Awesome. And that's where tonight.
Awesome. If you want to find out more about that, you can go to ttrpg.link/TheZoneGame, which will also be in the descriptions if you're watching this later, but it's right down below my face. Actually, it's below Quinn's face at this point in time. Speaking of Quinn, back again to play some more The Zone on stream with us. We've got Quinn. Why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online?
Hi, I'm Quinn, or Authenticity Trip. You can find me on Twitter at 200 Proof Games. That's 200 Proof Games. I make stuff and then I don't publish it. On my itch 200 Proof Games .itch. Yeah, that's what it is. .io. You'll see my main thing that I have released, which is one shot Travel Not Advised, which is a little bit less rules light, but in some ways a bit kindred to what we're doing. A little bit kindred to what we're doing here. Me and Raph had a really good conversation about our games after we played it the first time. It was so cool. So yeah, right now I'm working on like a Darkest Dungeon sort of tactical RPG sort of thing. Pretty having a good time. Always happy to be here. Always have a blast on Tony's streams.
Always glad to have you with us. I like to think of them as all of our streams, or at best, Raph's stream. Raph gets to own this stream. We just get to be here with him. Awesome. Coming at us from the first time ever, we've got Lucas Rollum. Lucas, I'm so glad to have you on stream here with us. Why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, and where they can find you online?
I'm really glad to be here, Tony. I'm sure it's going to be a blast. I don't usually do streams, but I miss playing a lot, so thanks for having me first. I'm a Latin creator. I live in Brazil. Sorry for the poor English. And, I do stuffs, a lot of stuffs. I publish at Itch.io mostly. I have books, mostly packs and blades for our, I'm selling at Exalted Funeral, and my last big release is MIDBX, which is selling at I forgot right now, the guys from UK, So Muppet publishing. I'm sorry. So and all this is my stuff. There are more than 10 little things at my Ichi. You can find me at Twitter and mostly on Facebook.
Awesome.
As well.
I'm super glad you took this step. I know it was a big deal for you to kind of start being on streams, that you've been part of the +1 community for a long time. We love your work, so I'm very glad to have you here with us. And then we've got, last but not least, we've got my favorite Adam E. Bell.
Yeah. High competition. There's a lot of Adam Bells.
There's at least 25 other Adam Bells that have middle initials that you could fight against. You and R. Alex Murray are going to become my alphabet warriors. I don't know what that means.
Not to be confused with the other Adam Bell that's also on RPG Geek that I had to message them and say, hey, I didn't make this stuff. I don't know what this is. And now one of us is Adam Bell, parentheses, 1.
Just has been to me.
I was so concerned by the gap between the I had to and the...
Yeah, I was like, you had to...
Well, I had to take care of some... Anyway, I'm Adam Bell.
I have to confess, I searched for you on Twitter. Which Adam Bell is this one? I'm sorry.
I'm Adam E. Bell. If you go to Adam E. Bell on Twitter, go to adamebell.games. You could buy my games. I'll mail them to you. They're good. I don't need to talk about them much. You just go there. Look out for a print of My Brain is a Stick of Butter going to Kickstarter at some point soon. You'll like it. I like it.
Love it. And maybe tonight your brain will turn into a stick of butter because that's what happens in the zone. We are going to be playing Legend Has It is another one of your games. There we go.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We're going to be playing in the forever free digital play space version of the game. So as you're watching tonight, if you're like, I don't like digital games, I don't like browser-based games, that's not how I like to play, I like to get together with my friends around the table, then you definitely need to go to ttrpg.link /TheZoneGame because that's what the Kickstarter is to make happen. But the digital space is really, really great. Raph has done a great job developing it over the course of the last couple of years, and that's where we're going to play. Raph, am I correct that it's a forever free digital site?
That's absolutely right. I want anyone to be able to play it digitally. If you want to support me or support the project, you can back the Kickstarter.
Awesome. And I apparently typed in the wrong code, so that zone does not exist. Hold on.
Fake zone.
While I get the correct zone, which
All
hopefully
will exist.
There we go. Operation Cordial Rabbit. I'm very, very excited. As we can see, we've got all of our players in here. We're going to go through character creation. You're going to spectate as different people are doing different things. I'm going to hop in here and join the game. I'm going to may move stuff around so people can see what I'm doing. But Raph, tell us a little bit while I'm doing that. Tell us a little bit about why the digital play space and kind of, I've hinted at it a couple times. What has the development process for the game been like?
Yeah, so the game actually started around 2018, so a while ago. It's a lot of play testing. At Metatopia, a couple of big bad cons, a ton of play testing, and I was actually fully ready with a boxed version, ready to go to Kickstarter at a date where basically nothing else was going on, called March 2020. And yeah, so we all know how that went. And so around the summer, it wasn't super easy to get play tests together. It was kind of hard to finish it up. And I took it as a time to learn how to make a digital version. I've been messing around with JavaScript for a long time, and I thought, well, why not? And then I spent 9 months frantically coping with the absolute isolation that we were all going through by making this. And it was great because it was a way for me to continue play testing, continue developing the game, continue getting feedback. And so it's just been out since about the spring of 2021.
Awesome.
And it's been amazing to see people go through.
And that's the thing. The other great thing is people were able to just start playing your game, which is the best way to get people excited about your game. And people are excited about this game. I know you've got a lot of people who have expressed more excitement. What we're going to play tonight is the iteration that's come up over the last couple of years, but the new version is going to have more art, different things in it, a lot of additional stuff. We'll talk about a lot of that on the back end because you didn't come here to hear us talk about that explicitly. That we will. You came here to watch us actually play the game. So I think we're going to start the game with five players. All right. And you can see, like, if everybody moves their mouse around, you can see, like, our mouses can interact with each other. We can all see what each other's mouses are doing. So if you're wondering what all the dots on the screens are and why they're moving around, that's what's happening. There's different things in the game that helps with design-wise. Do we want to take turns reading stuff out loud?
That's exactly right.
All right. I'm happy to start. That's good.
Please do.
And then, there you go.
Wait, did we go?
I think somebody, went ahead. There we go.
Oh.
Welcome, players. The goal of this game is to tell a weird, magical, realist horror story of mutation and self-discovery, a story about people who risk everything for an obsession. A story where only one will make it to the end. The game will take 2 to 3 hours from this point, around 11 p.m. for you. Make sure that works for everybody. Is everybody good with that?
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably.
We'll see.
Quinn has been up a long time today. Unless you all know each other, quickly introduce yourselves, name, pronouns, and what's your favorite weird horror thing. We did do that. We'll do weird horror thing when we whip around for characters also too. You're probably wondering if everybody is seeing the same thing you are. This is a live multiplayer space. Unless stated otherwise, moves affect everyone's view. I'm going to click next for the briefing, and if somebody else wants to take it from there.
I am glad to go there.
Yep.
I'll read the first couple of paragraphs, then we can pass it around. So, welcome, volunteers. I know you've all been wondering what the Zone really is, and if the rumors are true. As the 14th expedition, you deserve to know what we know. It's not a lot, but it may help you. It all started with the anomalies. Locals calling into talk radio or visiting their doctors with stories of unseasonal weather, impossible objects, half sightings of unknown creatures, claimed conversations with long-dead loved ones. People disappeared. Medical notes describe bodies that started changing.
We initiated special containment procedures, performed tests on those who refused to evacuate. Then, as if reacting to our attention, the boundary appeared and isolated everything and everyone within an area of several square miles. We don't know if there are still survivors, or if they're still human. Since that moment, not a single expedition has returned. All lose contact minutes after leaving visual range. We're going on fragments, rumors, and occasional anomalies that seep beyond the boundary.
Lucas, you want to go?
We don't know what the Zone wants, or if it wants. It seems to be a mirror. It manifests whatever phobias, obsessions, and memories you bring into it. The Zone brings them to life to test you. These are rumors that the Zone can grant you deepest wish, if it deems you worthy. Sensor readings show something incredibly powerful as it hearts. Perhaps the only escapes the center itself.
You
I can finish.
are the 14th expedition. You will almost certainly not return. Good hunting, but prepare to die. The Federal Bureau of Coherence, without admitting liability, thanks you for accepting this mission.
Quinn, you want to go through at least the first one?
1. We're telling a movie. The game is a series of scenes, which we can choose to play in as much or as little detail as we want, describing or acting out what characters are doing. Scenes can be as short as a couple of minutes, but usually they're around 5 minutes or so. The game will last about as long as a movie does.
We'll take turns being the director. There is no GM. We take turns as directors, setting up and ending scenes. And we all share a few key moves that anyone can trigger at any time to help the story along. No one will be forced to be on the spot for long. We're each in charge of our characters, but share responsibility for everything else.
and we will play to lose. We're not competing with each other. That's why our fates are secretly decided at the start, so we can focus on creating not so easy situations which characters will always take the bait on and suffer the consequences. You know that moment in a movie where you're yelling, "Don't go in there," or "Don't touch that." That's this entire game.
Let's roll.
This is the
Go ahead.
This is the board. It's a shared space. Unless explicitly stated otherwise, we can all see roughly the same thing on our screens. If there's something only you can say, it'll say, only you are seeing this. This spiral of cards represents the zone. Each card is a location the expedition will go through on their one-way journey into the zone. The game starts at the zone observation facility, which is right outside the boundary. Once inside, you cannot backtrack.
In each location, we'll do a few scenes. Expect to do 2 or 3 scenes in each location, fewer as we get closer to the center. 1 turn equals 1 scene. And I'll just editorialize saying here, we'll see kind of how long it takes to do a scene near the beginning, and then we'll calibrate the number of scenes we do to try and hit that 2.5 hour mark or so.
Totally.
There are no stats or dice rolls in this game. Whenever a character tries to do something that seems like it would be not so easy for them, anyone can force them to pull a not so easy card. Not so easy cards have bittersweet outcomes that advance the story, like yes, but, and no, and most of them will trigger a mutation. Trigger them often.
Our fates, or well, Lucas, did you want this?
Yeah, our fates are predetermined by fate cards. The characters on fate card must die in the scene when it's revealed, unless another player sacrifices their own characters. You cannot die before your fate card, so take risks. When your character dies, you keep playing as the zone, setting up scenes as usual with nothing to distract you, for making things weird, magical, and horrible for the survivors.
Go ahead, Quinn.
The game ends at the center. This is the innermost part of the zone, where the final player will ask it to grant or free them from their obsession. The remaining players embody the zone and decide the survivor's final fate. This is a horror game, so it's most fun when we take our characters way out of their comfort zones while taking excellent care of we, the humans playing them.
A couple tools we're going to use are the X card. If something comes up in the story we'd rather it didn't, we'll press the X card button. Find it and press it now. And rewind to find another way. No questions asked. We can even X card ourselves. Atmospheric silence. There will be times when a player is pondering a question and helping them feel so irresistible. We won't give in. Sometimes folks need a little time to think, and the creepiest horrors need time to gestate. Hell yeah or no. We each have an ironclad authority over our characters when setting scenes up as the director. And when setting scenes up as the director. It's still fun to suggest ideas and yes and a lot, but there's no pressure. If it's not an obvious hell yeah, no need to push it. The players are more important than the game. That's it. Take care of the real humans first, my friends. Be excellent to each other. All right, so Raph, why don't you explain what's going on here?
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to use our glowing cursors to pick somewhere on the spectrum where we kind of want the experience to go, from PG-13 to, full R-rated. And then we're going to talk about anything that we don't want to show up. But most of all, what are things that we do want to show up in the game, apart from pizza?
Papa John's.
What have I done? What have we done?
Look, this isn't Keegan's not on the stream. That's Keegan's sign off side. Is hope you all enjoy your pizza.
Oy vey. Oy vey.
We have a strong line against sexual violence and sexual coercion on the stream. Other than that, we like to leave things open to the conversation. Is there any type of mutation or I think especially like body horror or other injury items that people want to mention, or any other thing that they want to put a line or a veil over?
You know what's a cool thing to fuck with? Lungs.
You're saying you're pro lungs.
I'm pro. Technically, I'm anti lungs.
Okay.
Okay.
Technically, because I want the lungs to be fucked with. I'm
Okay.
pro lungs appearing, especially outside of the chest cavity.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah. Seems reasonable. Seems like a reasonable place for lungs.
Classic pepperoni lung.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm good with body horror, and I mean, like, we don't have to get too don't spend like 5 minutes describing the nastiest thing happened to a guy. But
Right.
I mostly don't like violence with children as well. So
Yeah,
Yes,
let's go ahead and let's I think that's a good one to leave off the table. We're all going to play adults, and no threats to children, I think, is another great one. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
and it looked like our cursors were not quite fully R-rated,
Yeah.
but mostly.
Not NC-17, but certainly
Right.
pretty R.
Right. The thing, not quite the Event Horizon director's cut.
Yeah.
Each
20%.
character, so we're going to create characters. Each character has an obsession and phobia and a reason they cannot go back to their old life. All these characters share one thing. They know the zone will almost certainly kill them, and it's their belief that it's worth it to fulfill their obsessions.
right.
All right.
Cool, and it's totally fine, by the way, for two people to play the same character. Just feel free to pick whoever resonates with you, and then you'll see the character creation is astoundingly simple.
I believe
Right.
I went. I think I did the scientist last game, so I'm going with the entrepreneur this time.
I did the entrepreneur. It was very fun.
I
think I also was the entrepreneur last time.
Well, all right.
He sucked. I'll tell you that much. And he won.
I will go with the scientist.
Did you go with the scientist?
Yeah.
Once you know which one you want, go ahead and select it. Has everybody selected one?
I haven't.
Yeah, I selected one.
I'll pop through these so people can see them.
And so for each of the archetypes, there's a few preset. If you haven't noticed them already, there's a few preset obsessions and phobias you can pick from and edit. This is something that, if you start with something simple, it's something that can evolve through play as well. So don't feel like you have to come up with something super, super, super deep. Except Adam, who we're going to wait for 2 hours while you get through.
Right, yeah.
Create your
depth and-
backstory.
Everybody strap in. I got time to write here.
Yeah, everybody go watch a movie, do something else.
Go watch Annihilation.
Go read,
and come
yeah,
back
go watch it and then read the entirety of the trilogy of books.
Watch Stalker. It's only 3 hours long.
Right. All right. So Lucas is talking about scientist. Anybody else have a strong one that they are really gravitating towards?
I'm gonna go with the writer.
Entrepreneur.
I'm taking the bureaucrat.
And what did you say, Quinn?
I'm the entrepreneur. Yeah.
I'm torn between the chaplain and the surgeon. Chad, if you've got a preference, let me know. I'll hop into one of those theoretically trying to help people.
What, you don't think the bureaucrat's trying to help people?
No, I think he's trying to contain the zone at all costs.
Well, to help
At
people. of
all
course.
costs. All right, Surgeon came in first. Donnie Dynamo and Reggie Lord, y'all can fight it out in the comments.
Hey,
Long-term
same
beef.
here.
outside.
Long-term
Good to see
beef
you,
getting
Xander.
formed. Dr. Bones Orange MD is a very good name.
Always accepting suggestions from Twitch for the name generator, by the way.
Yeah, Twitch, if you've got names, that's true. With lungs on the outside being a high likelihood, I do feel like a surgeon is not a bad call.
You might my generated name. I couldn't move past it. I'm Herb Manners, which is pretty outrageous what you've done here.
Trying to figure it. How do I want this to go?
God, so good. All right. Wow, that's That's-
I'm done.
Me too.
Very nearly there.
getting there.
That's right. I pulled the Uno reverse card. I'm done second by a hair.
All right.
In advance, I will make a. It's a very good platform you got for your game.
It's so
Congrats,
good.
actually.
It's so good.
Thanks, Lucas.
Well, it looks like we're all waiting on Quinn and
No,
Raph
the-
to finish
oh,
setting up
okay,
their
all right.
character.
Wow.
It's stunning, to be honest.
Yeah, it's very cool. I always tell people I don't like virtual tabletops because I don't really like virtual tabletops, but I do love the Zone's digital interface,
Yeah. No, man.
which is what I tell myself it's called to keep me from thinking about the fact that it's a virtual tabletop. And so, remember to think about your favorite weird or horror thing.
Oh.
Oh, goodness. I'll just throw out one of my favorite tropes is the creature made up of amalgamated bodies trope.
It's a classic. It really is.
It's such a classic. I don't know if you've seen the. Do you know? Any of you know Oats Studios? This was what's his name? Blomkamp, Neil Blomkamp, the guy who did District 13. He created a virtual movie production company that made a series of shorts in, I think it was like Unreal Engine. And so it's kind of like Love, Death, and Robots, but before that. And he has this short that's basically just a guy being chased by an amalgamated giant monster made out of bodies of all the other space colonists. And it's just, moi.
Awesome.
I think I saw it. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, since you told us your favorite weird thing / trope, go ahead and tell us about your character.
I sure will. So my character, his name is Yaniel Dachshund, and he's a writer. He's a renowned talent, decades of award-winning work on the international stage. I'm going to play him as not a fiction writer, but more like a historian, a student of ancient texts, ancient civilizations, and he's pretty convinced that he's found the key. Is it aliens? Is it something? Someone else? He's learned every ancient language to try and decipher them, and so when the zone appeared, he felt like it was kind of that was the opening. And he's absolutely terrified that whatever's in there is not going to love him back. He's dedicated his whole life to whatever it is. What if it doesn't like him? What if it doesn't accept him? And he can't go back into the real world because he's just descended in such obsession that he hasn't written anything for 15 years. And for anyone who's watched Stargate SG-1, I'm basically playing him as like dark Daniel Jackson.
I was one of my questions.
Yep.
My one was, if you weren't doing that, did you just try to create a name that was as hard to pronounce as possible based on reading it?
Daniel.
I just wrote Daniel Daxon and then changed it a tiny bit.
Daniel Daxon is the best, worst spelled name ever. And so I love it. Awesome. Let's just work across the character sheet and we'll loop back around. So Adam, why don't you tell us what's your favorite horror thing or weird thing, and tell us about Herb Manners.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Junji Ito's Cat Diaries. So Junji Ito has written a lot of other really good horror, but then he also wrote just like a very mundane comic about his cats, but like drawing them in these like, horrifying ways. It's very good.
Awesome.
Go look at it. But I'm playing Herb Manners, whose obsession is that to see for himself. He sent so many people in, and needs to like see what kind of fate that he sent them to, because he's pretty sure it's bad. And the phobia that the zone certainly will not manifest is a fear of the absence of procedure. What will Herb reference when there's no reference to reference? And Herb cannot go back to his job at the bureau because they fired me. There's too much unaccounted for money on the books. Like, it's easy to contain this zone. Like, it's easy to send expedition after expedition to a fate worse than death.
I love it. Awesome. That makes me next. So I am playing Dr. Bones Orange, MD. Bones is not a nickname; it's my given name. I'm the one they call in for strange cases and anomalies. I'm certain that only the center of the zone can satisfy my obsession, which is perfecting myself. They wouldn't let me experiment on myself out there. My phobia is being obsolete. If there was another more perfect doctor or organism out there, why would it need me? And so, and then there's this is a one-way trip for me. I can't go back because Zephyr Tiberian knows what I did to the shack in the Blue Hills, and he'll never let me forget it. I don't know what that is yet. We're gonna find out, but it's gonna come up. And my favorite horror thing, besides Raph listening to weird music when we played Mouth Brood, which was probably my favorite horror moment on stream. Not weird music, the horrid sounds of animals on another stream. Like watching you in that moment of like, this is a serious thing. Like watching you play your character in the stream we did with Amanda Lee Frank of Mouth Brood, and watching you delight in the horrific things that were happening around us as both a player and a character, unlocked a new understanding in me about what I like about horror, which is the character that is more amazed by what is happening than they are actually horrified of it. And so, oftentimes to their own detriment, but like it was playing with you where I realized that's something I actually really do love about horror. Not every single thing has it. But I very much love it when it does come up. And so let's loop around to Lucas.
Nice. My character name is Seth Meitner. I'm a scientist. I'm pretty sure I needed an evidence to prove my theory that the zone is another dimension. It's the like inverse world of our own. So I have to prove it, and I did a lot of math, a lot of theories, and grow these theories. And all my partners at academy that I was studying said it was not a good theory. So I have to prove it, and I can't go back until I prove it and get the evidence on the zone. My phobia is that I'm incompetent, that all my math, all the work I've done is incorrect. I can't deal with it. If I'm wrong, I prefer to die than be wrong. So
Hell yeah.
and my favorite horror thing is, I was thinking about a lot. I'm not a horror guy or something that really watch horror stuff a lot, but I remember a guy from Brazil that is called Zé do Caixão. It's like an B film guy that I like it a lot. If you all do a Google about him, it's pretty great, It's a B film, nasty horror with very, very. But it's strange how it can be deep, even though it's low budget films with lot of weird stuff. So it's a thing that I like a lot.
Totally.
Awesome.
And last but not least, we've got the entrepreneur.
Hey, baby, I'm Maximilian Debutante. I am certain that only the center of the zone can satisfy my obsession, which is sheer thrill. I'm going to experience the perfect thrill at the center and be the man to turn the zone into the single most lucrative theme park on planet Earth.
God.
He's like a dollar sign suit
Yeah.
TV commercial
Yeah.
and entrepreneur. Amazing. Dude.
Big NFT guy, huge.
Mhm.
I have a phobia. I am terrified of fear itself. My identity is centered on a hyper-masculine, thrill-seeking construct, my fearlessness. If I break once, it all comes crashing down. And I can't go back because my obsession and my phobia combine. I can't leave without experiencing the perfect thrill, and I simply cannot countenance the idea of retreat.
Love it. All right.
Oh, Maximilian.
Maximilian Debutante. And my favorite horror thing, the thing that like really gets to me, I think, like as a person, what interests me maybe the most about almost any genre is mysteries. I'm always like, where's the mystery part of this story? And so like my favorite part of a horror story, and especially I'm thinking here of, like Alien or like the stuff that's a big influence on me, or even the Blair Witch Project or anything, stories where, the part of the story where you learn one new thing, and that one new thing is just like you don't even understand the implications of it, right? It's just like it's just throwing the torch down the hole and it vanishes, right? And that moment really gets me when it happens.
Mm.
All right. And that's everyone on the 14th expedition. No.
I hope there's a key for it.
All right.
So excited to enter the zone with you all.
Yeah, me too. I need to prove my theory. I guess the writer can help me with it also.
We can all help you. We're obviously all on the same team with we're all in it for the same reason.
This is a high functioning team.
Yeah. This is one of the best.
So the zone randomly selected Lucas to be the first director. Do we want to do that, Raph? Do you want to claim the scene so you can kind of walk us through how director works, or
Yeah. I would be happy to. And we can run through the tutorial real fast. It'll really guide us into learning it. Yeah. So let me claim that. Cool. All right. So we're here. We're at the Zone Observation Facility, and the game designer voice. The purpose of this scene is to just kind of get comfortable with the flow of the game. So we're hanging out outside the zone, and we're hanging out in let's see, it's going to be a rustic manor and farm just outside the boundary. This is going to be something that happens whenever you're the director. The first thing you do if you go to a new location is you pick the location, then you introduce it as I am now. So the Zone Observation Facility, it's a rustic manor and a farm outside the boundary. It's been requisitioned by the FBC after its owners were not so lucky. Exactly how they were not so lucky, undefined. And now the second thing that you do as a director is you get a scene prompt. So in this case, the scene prompt, it's always this at the beginning of the game. The night before, everyone shares rumors. And at the beginning of every scene, it's always the same thing. The director kind of sets it up. Just imagine the establishing shot if this were a scene in a movie. And then as quickly as possible, it goes into this kind of collaborative storytelling where we're all turn-taking as, this is where I can kind of go, ha, 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 you've been doing it all along, as we have been through the whole tutorial, right? Where we've been trading off and kind of sharing the load. Same vibe. At the bottom, this bottom half of all this, the scene cards have questions on them. They're kind of optional. They're just, if ever you get stuck, either as the director, you're not quite sure how to guide it, or as players, if you're thinking, well, what do I want to do? Just answer the question. And then the other responsibility of the director is just to end the scene. So I think we should all keep each other honest, timekeeping wise, but just generally when the scene starts deviating a lot from the prompt on the card, that's when we just kind of end the scene and go to the next one. Cool. It's always better to cut too early than too late.
Cool.
All right. So yeah, I'll set it up. You know, we're all just, we've been at a series of training facilities where they've put us through all of our different personality profiles and kind of physical aptitude tests and various strange mental exercises involving looking at cards with different shapes on them and different colors and seeing if we can imagine the card that we can't see, and all of that to test various psychic abilities, like all the standard boring bureaucratic stuff. Yes. And our final stop before entering the zone is this manor house, this reclaimed manor house. It's old, it's wooden, it's creaky. There's electronic equipment just scattered everywhere. Just imagine like the back of a DJ booth with all the wires coming off, except it's like 15 of those connected to all the monitoring devices and radar antennas and telescopes and thermal imaging that is pointed directly at the zone. And so we're in this big dining hall, this kind of rustic dining hall with hunting trophies on the walls. And we're just kind of hanging out, you know, we're eating our MREs, kind of packed lunches, packed rations. And we're just kind of sharing rumors about stuff that we've heard about. Yeah, just kind of shooting the shit. So yeah, what strange animals or plants have been spotted? What weird anomalous artifacts have we heard about?
I have you know, I think we pan over to Dr. Bones' kind of long gaunt face, and as he like, you know, spears around at this MRE in front of him, he goes, you know, I've heard that there's fruit made out of meat on the other side.
That's surely an evidence that this kind of fruits is from other dimensions, baby. Who is talking is Seth Meitner, He is a fully bald guy. He don't have any kind of hair in all of his body, and he tells you that when you look strange to him, that it's because he was exposed to some sort of radioactive while doing his tests to prove his theory.
What a goddamn weirdo.
Yeah, Yaniel Daxon. So hard to say. It's so hard to pronounce. What have I done? Looks over and he's like surrounded by books, right? He has been badgering the people at the FBC just to let him bring all of his books, as many of them as possible. Every time they go from base to base, he loses some of them, but he's still got way too many, and they're strewn on the table. And he looks over at at Seth. He's like, yes, actually, there's this text, an ancient Egyptian that has evidence of these strange fruit made out of meat. Absolutely. Like I've heard rumors that there are, entire meat forests inside the zone.
None of you know what you're talking about.
They're just rumors. They're just rumors.
None of you.
Not rumors. Rumors can be evidence. Remember.
And animals out of plants,
Yeah.
All four of you just making stuff up. This isn't an improv workshop. We have to get a little serious here.
We have to have an open mind.
Yeah. Well, I've got a tip that comes straight from the horse's mouth, pal. I heard right there. There's some people that have been dead, like on the outskirts, whatever. I heard all the hair on their bodies completely white. Shock of their lives. Huh?
That one's not even that weird.
Come on, Herb.
No, but it's like consistent, It's consistent. That's the key.
If we're gonna be making stuff up, I mean, at least say something like, like in both of their hands were their lungs, and in their chest there were no lungs.
Hey man, no bullshit from the Maxi boy.
And Yaniel takes a note. It's like lungs outside. Oh, interesting. Or is that something in there? Sorry, were you? Is that in the mission reports? Is that something that you've seen? Is that
that one is real?
Okay.
Any rumors?
It's not a. I can't.
How do you know it's real?
Well, I've seen it. I think I dream. I heard about it.
You dream.
Every
You realize that dreams are not real. Yeah.
in here where we're going, they kind of are. It's like I don't know.
You look over at Maximilian. He's got like a little notepad. And he's got his tongue out. He's with a little with a pen. You can see him writing lungs and then circle and then a target audience ?
Did he write down in here? The dreams are real.
Oh yeah,
tagline.
It would make way more sense for him to latch onto the dreams being real thing, but he's really focused on the lungs.
I keep on poking around and not eating my MRE, and I was like, well, I just brought it up because if in their dreams are real, I'd much rather dream of a plant made out of meat than eating this. And I kind of just toss the plate down on the table, somewhat disgusted at it.
And I think that's probably a good place to end the scene.
Cheers.
Okay.
That's beautiful, y'all. Absolutely beautiful. All right, so now I'm going to hit the end scene button. Typically, it's whoever's the director hits the end scene button. And and it'll automatically switch to the next person. It goes in the order of the chips on the bottom of the screen, by the way, if you're wondering.
No worries. Okay.
All right, so I'm the director, and I would now decide where the next scene takes place. But because we're in the zone observation facility, we must move to the boundary. And it's time to enter the boundary. The crossing will be split into 3 short scenes, one for each of the 3 key moves. Before we start the first scene, we'll do a quick overview of all 3 moves. So the first move overview is take stock. So starting with you, every player adds, you being the player who triggers take stock, I assume, because that's who would be reading this. Starting with you, every player adds a sensory detail about the scene: sight, sound, touch, smell, taste, or how your character feels. You can skip yourself if you don't have anything in mind. When everyone is spoken, return to collaborative storytelling. All right, everybody.
We can just demo these as we go in the next 3 scenes. So I think most of us know how to use them. So Lucas, you'll see them in action in the next couple scenes.
Okay, great. So do you want to just kind of zoom past this?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, the next one's called Something's Not Right. It does kind of what it sounds like. Next one, Not So Easy, also does sort of what it sounds like.
Oh, so exciting.
And you'll know about it soon. So as the director, I'm now deciding which of these 3 things, similar to how we got the manor last time. The boundary is a psychological boundary. It manifests only in your minds, triggering thoughts, memories.
Is where dreams come true.
Seems right.
Yeah, it felt like it followed from
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
So the tutorial scene is the expedition sees the boundary for the first time, but does not cross yet. So we will use the take stock move in this scene. So we set off from the manor and kind of move towards where we are like led to go. Like we're sort of, maybe what happens is we wake up in the morning, and like the back door has been opened for us. There's like all of our bags are sort of packed there. And we pick them up and walk out the door. Probably, I'm at least silent. I don't know about everybody else.
I'm
Yeah, that's good.
yeah.
Just sort of this somber kind of walk into the horizon, and at a certain point, we all, I don't know, it's like we're lost in our own thoughts, and that becomes very real to us. So I think we should take stock of what that means. So starting with me, every player will add a sensory detail, like I just said. I think the sensory detail is everything that we. What was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. So I'm just going to say that it feels like my brain needs to be degaussed, like an old CRT monitor. Like it's sort of like I start walking, I'm thinking about things, and then it's like this electrostatic film is building up on the inside of the brain, whatever that might mean or feel like. Sounds horrible.
I'll add one. I think there's this this rhythmic pressure in the air. It's almost like the air is like the air pressure is increasing and then decreasing at roughly the same rate as someone breathing. Someone like who's breathing calmly, someone or something. But you just feel that sense of like compression and expansion.
I have one. Our minds have an insight, like the insight of reality, that like we are not percepting the whole thing. Everyone has this. I have this a lot. Like I was in a dream, and now I am aware of my reality right now. So I was just passing through my life, and now I'm here. So it's just a sense, but a weird sense. You did not wake from a dream. You're just now aware of the reality.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I almost want to build on that and just say, like, as we become aware of that, we all wake up and we go through like the exact same motions that we went through just a moment before and find ourselves back in this exact same space. And only at that moment do we realize that we like just individually. I don't, if there's any sort of communication, that's great. That we all had like we had all dreamed up until this point the night before.
Okay. A déjà vu, a dream déjà vu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the breathing, the sense of something breathing, for me, the breathing, it sounds like the breathing sounds like it's coming from me, and it's not. I can still hear my own breathing. It just sounds like there are two breathings occurring at the same time in my body.
Mm. Is it like you're like trying to sync up with the air breathing and it just never?
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to sync up with myself. It like there's.
It's so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have another one with this. I'm sorry, but can I do another one?
Sure.
Or
Yeah.
maybe we can. We are aware and we realize that we are not breathing. Our hearts are not beating, and we are just living like we are not living. I don't know if it's good.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. All right.
That feels like some good stock that we've taken.
Yeah.
Agreed
Sure have.
and seen.
Whew.
It's Tony's turn.
All right. I'm the director. Do another scene of the boundary. Something's not right. Uses something's not right when you need to ramp up the danger in a scene. When to use it frequently. It's a great way to set up the not so easy situation. Who can use it? Anyone, anytime. Set up the scene, then try out this move by pressing something's not right once you've used the move in the scene. The expedition starts to cross the boundary, but something's not right. All right. I think, queuing up right on what Lucas said, like my character realizes like that we are all starting to hallucinate. Like this like the breathing kind of seems to be intensifying. This atmospheric pressure seems to be building. It's like we can't feel our own hearts beating within us. And I say something's not right. I think there's something wrong with the air here.
Oh, it's so much worse than that. The air, the air is it's weird. You're kind of looking at it and you're like, is it getting less transparent? What's going on here? It looks like if the air was containing a lot of dust, it's as if the dust is kind of inflating a little bit. And so it's like we're getting like surrounded by this pollen that's getting larger, and it's kind of encasing us in like a great softness. It's soft, like cotton, but we're just starting to get hemmed in. It's physicalizing around us almost.
So we
and
go ahead.
Oh, and I was going to say, and for Lucas's sake, this is how this move always works. Someone can trigger it at any time, go, something's not right, and then describe what they think is not right, and then someone else goes, oh, it's worse than that, and just kind of.
And then it goes back to that player. So then I would incorporate it and say, You're right, and we see in these kind of fibrous, kind of cotton dust forms that are like starting to hem us in. There's almost a sense of figurines, like of bodies walking in this kind of like dusty air for a second before like these fibers just kind of like, and it looks like they're about to close in on us, and then a breeze just comes through and pushes the fibrous mass like all over our bodies.
Damn.
Cool.
All right.
Great.
Now it's Lucas.
You are the director now. Do another scene in the boundary. Not so easy. So, when someone describes their character doing something not so easy.
Oh, I forgot that we all see the same thing. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, yeah. Now you go back to reading it.
I was just doing it for audience view.
There is one final obstacle before making it into the zone.
I think we figured out what that obstacle might be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Why is not so easy to make it through the inner side of the boundary and enter the zone?
Evil fuzzballs.
Yeah. In this case, we've definitely found the thing that would make it not so easy. And so now we would narrate like someone tries to move through. So I think this is what we're all trying to do.
Yeah.
We're trying to move through these fuzzballs.
Okay.
And we pulled a card that tells us if we succeed or not, and if so, if there's a complication.
All right. So yeah, how does Seth try to move through the fuzzballs? Because you clicked it, so it's you.
Yep.
Okay. So the zone mutates you in a small but noticeable way. Let's go to the mutation sheet. How can I roll?
Yeah.
It says, I don't know why it gave me control, but it did.
How can I roll this? Yes,
Oh,
only you can
strange.
see this.
I think.
We get to pick. There's no roll.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, you can roll a d20 and a d3 to figure out the type if you want to, or you can just pick. I would say, lots of times it makes the most sense to pick situationally what it might affect.
Okay.
So this could be,
Yeah.
this could be anything, but it could be an emotional thing happens. It could be happens to your senses. You could inhale some of the fiber and it might do something inside you. Or
Pollen is on
might affect
here.
your body in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff, man.
Okay. Yeah, my eyes suddenly become bioluminescent. So
cool.
yeah. So I have bioluminescent eyes right now.
What kind of bioluminescence do we see? Like, what color is it?
It's the color of it's green, like the pointers here.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool. Oh, I guess I have to close it for some reason.
That the mutation cheat sheet is only you see this.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
close it. So how can I go back?
There's an X in the top corner.
Yeah, that's
Do you try to hide this, or do you not?
I don't care.
Okay. So this is like you moving through this dusty, kind of like miasma almost, and then like you turn around and look at us, and your eyes are just suddenly glow stick green.
Wow.
Okay. I just leave the game. I'm sorry.
It should be easy enough
It
to
should,
get
yeah,
back
let's
in.
say there's a close button up in the top left corner, next to the word mutations.
No,
don't
I
worry.
leave the game.
Yeah, if you re-enter the room, you should be able to take your
Okay.
seat back.
I'm going.
Yeah, don't worry. You didn't lose anything.
Oh, that's what happened. I see.
making a note there of a usability issue to fix it.
Okay, I'm back. So where is the exit? I don't see it.
So what are you seeing? Do you have the yes and card on your
Yes,
screen?
and
right now?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, for whatever reason, resolve
This
yes,
down here.
I don't-
Yeah.
Okay, I'm here.
Eh.
Right. Let's end the scene. Right? Or do you...
Yep.
Yeah, that seems good.
Yeah.
All right.
Ended on you turning back and looking at us with your
Yeah, my
Yeah.
glowing...
horrible glowing
The
eyes.
Expedition
eyes.
is at the boundary. Move to the first location beyond. You are now in the zone. The next few scenes will be about exploring the zone, developing your characters, and most importantly, being very irresponsible. Remember, you will need not so easy cards for the end game. Have your characters do plenty of things that make it necessary to say not so easy. Mutations await.
The village.
We are in the village. I think it is eerily calm. Every building perfectly preserved 30 years later. It's as if the inhabitants could be just around the corner. Our scene prompt is, someone discovers a mutation that endangers the group. Who is most likely to harbor a dangerous mutation? What does the group do to try to be safe from this mutation? There's only one mutation, and it could be dangerous or it could not, but I could also get a different prompt. I kind of want to go to Lucas on this. Lucas, do you want this prompt or do you want to do a different one?
I'm cool with it. So
Cool.
maybe...
Yeah, so like the setup, kind of the setup that I'm thinking here then is like you turn around with the eyes, and then like as we leave the boundary, we're all just kind of like, hey, what the fuck? Hey, what the fuck? You know, it just kind of like it's a bit of an argument, just being like, no, what the, because like we're not really, or
I mean,
at the very least, like my reaction is what the fuck repeatedly. That's definitely Max's response.
Let's say Bones is fascinated by it. Like as you sit down on a nearby picnic table, Seth, and starts like running through a basic physical with you, is trying to check your eyes with his tools, but also it's completely worthless because they're just glowing and I can't get any sort of readings off them. And then I want to take a blood sample from you.
No, come on, no. Give him some space. No, this shouldn't be happening so soon.
Wait. You want to take a blood sample?
No.
Yeah, I'm cool with the blood sample, but
Keep your
no, maybe it has some hazard. I don't know.
I
Yeah,
think
Dr. Orange,
something's not right.
take a step back.
Are you triggering the move?
I think I'm triggering
Okay.
move. Something's not right. I think something's not right because when you try, so you're trying to draw blood, right?
Okay.
I'm just trying to confirm that is what you're.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're trying to draw blood, and you're not getting any. You're not like let me be clear. The needle is in the vein. There's nothing seemingly wrong, but you pull back the plunger and nothing enters the syringe. And not a drop of blood exits his arm when you remove it.
Yeah. Well, it's actually worse than that. The metal on the needle seems to be seeping into his skin and being drawn in.
Yeah, I was thinking like you're. Oh yeah, because I was imagining you're like trying to pull the plunger and it's like really resisting, and then I guess it is going the opposite way.
It just goes. Ugh.
And I'm screaming.
I don't care. I'm gonna double down, but it's not so easy.
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
To pull this sample. I guess the person trying to do the thing that restates what they wanted to happen. So I basically want to like you watch me like clamp down on the upper arm as we see this like this dark spiral working its way up the vein as the needle goes in. Oh, I was actually still looking at the card. Hold on. And then finally, like we see like it shoot back up.
Mhm.
But I'm just saying the first trying to do. Then draws a not so easy card. I guess so. That's what I need to do. Where do I draw that card
Yes.
from?
So go back in there, and then it's the big yellow button on the card.
Thank you. They're deckified. I
Oh.
always forget. No, the zone mutates you in a way that triggers somebody else's phobia. If no one else is left, it triggers yours. People remind me of your phobias real quick.
Not
Mine is to be incompetent.
Mine's the lack of procedure.
Being actually afraid.
to be hated by those of the zone, whatever they are. Not accepted.
Adam, say yours one more time.
Oh no.
It's the lack of any procedure, like not having a checklist to follow, not having bureaucracy to go back to. So you're kind of already doing that.
Yeah.
You're already
Mutation CEO suit.
I think what happens, like you want to stop this no matter what. You're like, this is not procedure. Like, this is not the way, things are supposed to be happening. Like all of a sudden, like the syringe doesn't do that. But like I said, I had grabbed his hand, like I'd grabbed higher up on his arm. And you see that like my hand, like all of a sudden, like you can see like there's like a ring of blood around my hand. That's kind of this, it's slightly glowing also too. It's not green. It's still just red, but like there's this slight like glowing presence of blood. And as I pull my hand back, it's covered in like small porous thorns all over my paw. And I'm like, fine. Like, you know what? If you don't care about this, that's fine.
If anything, I care the most. I mean, look at what you've done. Look at he's bleeding. He's got who knows what happened to that syringe. We got to inspect all of the equipment before we even can start to use it. You can't just start.
I mean, it seems like something you could have brought up before we were in here and before people's eyes were turning green.
What's the procedure for eyes, glowing eyes mutation?
I don't know. I don't know what
Listen,
the procedure is.
green eyes have been voted the sexiest eye color the last 10 years in a row. I don't know what we're worried about.
The needle that melted into his blood.
So this entire time, Daniel Jackson has been, and I want to introduce something here. So he, the Boston Robotics, like big dog, robotic dog.
Yeah.
So Daniel just badgered the FBC so hard that they let him take one of the robotic dogs in order to carry another shelf of books. So this entire time, he's been just like leafing through shit to try and find a reference here. And at that moment, he comes up, he's like, we might not have a procedure, but in 1700 BC, it seems like, and he just kind of goes off on a thing while everyone else's eyes glaze over.
Makes sense.
I really want to call that dog Go Dog Go, which was one of my favorite childhood books.
Go Dog Go. It is.
It's a good dog. Go. All right, let's move on.
Oh, awesome. 'Tis me. All right. So I think we we look around the village for a little bit, and as we're going, we go into different places and kind of see the vibe. There's no one around, and eventually we come to a school.
Okay.
And we walk into the school, and let's see. Ooh, I like this. the outside of the school from the outside just looks like normal kind of, small town school. I think probably like small town school, like all ages, middle school, high school, just and from the outside it just looks like the rest of the town, like eerily quiet, kind of like it's Sunday, everyone's at home. But when we walk into the school, everything inside seems to have been, the best way we can think to describe it is it's been kind of reorganized. It's as if everything was metal and a giant magnet just got waved over, and there's some stuff that is still kind of stuck to, like, it's super weird. Like there's like an entire room where the desks are just stuck to the ceiling exactly in the correct organization that the desks should be. There's another room where the desks are just in a spiral pattern. There's another room where all of the desks have just been kind of like merged together. The metal of the legs just flows into each desk and chair into one big kind of structure. Whatever seems to have done this doesn't seem to be here anymore, but it's freaking weird is what it was. And so, oh my goodness. The scene that we'll do here is we encounter an incredibly dangerous anomaly.
I thought you said it wasn't here.
Yeah.
It seemed to no longer be here. All right, yeah, let's take stock.
Who did that?
It was me, and then I started taking a drink. Sorry. Yeah, I think as we walk through, like, I like go to check the nurse's office just for extra medical supplies. I think we see me like quickly wrapping my hand, hoping no one will take note of what's happened to it. And I think when I get in there, are we still eerily absent of people at this point in time, Raph? Just like the town.
Let's say, I mean, the town was eerily absent of people. The classrooms we've looked into so far have been eerily absent of people, okay. But there could be people somewhere we haven't looked yet.
Oh, that's fine. I was just curious. Like I think we see me like sniffing at the air, and there's just the heavy smell of copper kind of like lingering in the air as I come into the nurse's office and as we've been walking through the hallways.
We feel that our blood, that our stopped heart was not pumping. They go for our heads because it became somehow magnetic and attracted to the magnetic field on the ceiling. So our blood goes to our heads and stay there and left us with some sort of headache.
Yeah, and as we're walking, so Daniel has a book out. He's like looking at it while he's walking, just trying to like reference something. And it's this tome from like, the 1600s. But as he's looking at it, the ink starts to kind of lift off the page towards the ceiling, just floating off. The paper is untouched, but the ink just starts to move. Could be some of the stuff they used to make that ink out of. Who knows? But either way, it's being pulled up.
Yeah, that's really good. Maximilian, like strides into a room, and like he's like, oh, cool, yeah, come check this out. I don't think he's found anything particularly interesting, but he's, come check this out. And, a couple of you round the corner to look into the room, and he turns back grinning, and then his smile falls, because he is standing on the ceiling, just upside down. Completely normally, and he has no idea how that happened.
Right, and he and Herb and anybody else that followed that beckon feels extraordinarily compelled to take a seat in one of these desks that's on the ceiling.
Janiel,
Seth as well.
Janiel has also been flipped. He doesn't even notice it. He's just muttering to himself. It's like, oh yes, oh the ink. Yeah, this ink was probably made of metal gall, usually iron gall. Yeah. He was mixing a solution of tannic acid with ferrous sulfate. So it's probably magnetic. Then he looks up and he's like, oh, I'm upside down now.
Yeah.
Hey, take a seat.
This
Classes about
could
to start.
revolutionize gravity well rides. So
Hey, I think the teacher's about to be here. We gotta be ready. It's the first day of school.
I love school.
buddy,
I love school, says Janiel.
Yeah, I'm excited. It feels like it's been the longest summer.
I hope it's not a pop quiz today.
I think Maximilian does not isn't quite in sway, but also he never paid much attention in school in the first place.
Janiel was extremely studious, and he feels like he's literally turning back into a teenager right now.
Yeah, Seth as well. So he somehow grabs a notebook and starts doing some maths, not considering the gravity or reconsidering the gravity of this place.
I feel like we all suddenly get those kinds of what are they called? You know, those notebooks, the you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, composition notebooks with the
composition.
spackled front.
Yeah. Somehow they're all just in front of us.
I think maybe out of everyone here, Maximilian might be in a unique position to try and resist it.
How does Maximilian resist it?
By being a fucking slacker, that's how.
Not so easy to be a slacker in this class.
I was going to say, do
There
it.
we go.
Click it.
Yeah,
Click
one
it.
of these has to be clicked.
Yeah. So what I want to do is the composition notebook appears in my hands, and I look at it.
Why, you got purple?
I look at you guys, and I'm like, no, fuck this. This ain't fucking right. And I try to throw it onto the floor. I try to throw it to the floor from the ceiling that I'm on.
Right.
Well, let's see it.
Let's see what happens.
No, and Oy. All right.
What was your character most afraid of in high school? That's what I want to know.
Oh man, in high school, what was I most afraid of in high school? Maybe. Maybe this could be a little trite. But I think it fits him. Maybe. I think Maximilian always talked a big game. I think he tried to set himself up, as his little Richie Rich, but I think his family was dirt poor, and I think his fear in high school was that people would find that out. It mutates me in a way that triggers my phobia. This is what I get for picking a very regular non-body phobia. Really makes me have to work on this one.
Give it a little while to think, but once you've had some time to think, I've got a pitch if you don't get one.
Oh, sure, pitch me.
Well, no, take some. One of the things is we want to give a little space for silence and reflection.
That's true. Yeah. It's all right. I think maybe the proper mutation here is to jump off of what Raph said earlier. I think maybe I do just revert to high school Maximilian, who isn't a total weakling or dweeb or anything, but significantly less jacked and well dressed.
So we see your clothes change also.
Yeah, just like he just the whole thing reverts. And I guess that triggers the phobia because the phobia is also is of retreat, is of going back.
Yeah, I love it because it's like we allowed ourselves to revert mentally to it being high school students, and because you resisted that, the zone was like, "Well, fuck you."
Yeah, now you're
gonna revert physically.
You are a high school
Have
student.
fun.
Yeah, exactly. And just like the amount of self-loathing coming off of this dude right now. Woof. Just like he feels it, like he feels himself like shrink a little bit. And his close range, he's just like, no, you've got to be fucking kidding me. No. And I think perhaps if you're cool with it, Raph, I think we blink and find ourselves back on the floor.
Oh, actually, I have a pitch for how the scene ends. Actually,
Pick it.
No, exactly how you're doing it. If I want to add one element, which is we just like do schoolwork for the rest of the day,
Oh,
and then 4 p.m. and then 4 p.m. rolls around, and the bell rings, and next thing we know, we're outside the school again.
that's so good. That's so tasty. That's ice cream with a fucking caramel swirl, bud.
And scene.
Yeah.
I love
That's
it.
good.
I love it.
Very good.
That was so good.
It is my turn next. I think we're gonna do another scene in the school. Yeah. So the prompt is going to be somebody pursues their obsession with serious consequences. I think like we're following kind of shortly after that, where it's night or like close to night or whatever night looks like here, and we get out of the school like we're on our way home. I'm giddy, like, oh, I get to go home. Can't wait to see what's for dinner.
Yes.
So I guess it's late afternoon. And then as soon as we step outside, it's like, wait, what the hell? I guess we have to go back in there. Have we just been doing arithmetic for 6 hours? I don't know.
Seth is still doing compulsively math and calculus, and he's noting his notebook and get another one and scrap some papers, and he's doing it compulsively. I can't be wrong, and eventually he stops and, is this right? Is this right? Check with me.
Seth.
Check.
Seth, we're not in school. It's fake. You know how to do math, probably. I've seen you're the scientist.
It can't be right. Look at here. Is this right? Say to me.
I have to go back in there. I got to figure this out. I like storm back into the school.
He's walking and compulsively doing the math.
That's so cool.
Still doing the math.
That's so
I think
cool.
I'm gonna call this on myself. I'm gonna say whipping open the school door is not so easy because it's been less than a minute since that spell broke.
Yeah.
So yeah, the thing I'm trying to do is go into the school without losing my mind and thinking that I'm in school.
I say something's not right. So you said so.
Well, I'm doing. Hang on, I'm doing.
You did it with the It's even worse though.
Oh,
well, you did not so easy. You did not so easy.
Yeah, he's doing it not so easy.
Yeah. We'll do that in a second, though.
Yeah. Oh, so good. Perfect.
Great. So I have to reveal something about my past to succeed. So I don't get mutated. That rocks. Still clean. Something about my past to succeed.
I got a prompt for you, but of course with
Yeah,
a little bit of time. In a second.
Yeah, give it a sec. Because the things I'm trying to avoid like, oh, he was so bad at school, because that's not relevant to the character, and I'm trying to avoid like, oh, he was so good at school.
Were
and
you
nobody
a
liked.
did you discover your burgeoning love of procedure and bureaucracy at school? Were you a teacher's pet? Were you an office aide?
Oh,
Yeah, definitely in that. Like that's the things that I think I would like to learn about this character is like why. When did he become a pencil pusher? And I guess it is pretty early on, but then I'm trying to figure out how do I reveal that.
I have an idea.
I do too.
Okay, yeah, I'll take ideas now because that's
Can
we're
I-
in the
can I
we're in the
do
neighborhood that I
mine
want.
first?
Yeah.
I don't know if it works. Their ideas may be a little bit more aligned with what you're going for now, but what I had was a question. Tell me about what happened the last time you entered a school building like this, and why it went so wrong. But if that doesn't align right,
My pitch was remembering the special access you had to because of your closeness to a teacher when you were in school. So it could be a key, it could be knowing a certain door is unlocked, it could be a window left open. But how did you always know how to get into school since you were tight with the teachers?
And how? What happened to you? Like, how did it shape you to have that summer job, just helping the school with paperwork and just seeing all the fellow students' files and
there it is.
Okay.
getting into the archives?
Yeah, I think what happens, it's sort of maybe a combination of a few of these, but I walk in, I know this layout, I know the layout of this school. It's my school, and so I make a beeline to like the principal's office / like that administration zone that exists in the school, and I immediately get on like the intercom for the announcement system because I used to do the announcements. That was like one of the main things of my little inside access was I got to do the announcements. I got to prepare them, sort them, work with whoever. I had to talk to all the teachers to see, hey, do your clubs have anything that they need to announce tomorrow? And so I get on the intercom and I say, hey, all school activities are immediately canceled for the day. It is, do we go snow day? Just trying to think of some reason to cancel school because in my mind that'll cancel the spell of we're stuck in it.
Tornado warning.
Yeah. There's a tornado warning. Everybody should immediately report. All school personnel and students on premises should immediately go to the basement. This is not a drill. Yeah, and then that's.
Hey, Adam. Something's not right.
Okay. I believe it.
In the distance, a tornado begins to form at the edge of the village.
Yeah.
And is picking up speed towards us.
It's worse than that. The tornado also has a magnetic field, not just wind.
Great. In our weirdly magnetized blood. Yeah, I feel the pull. I think we should take stock. Whoever's hovering over that.
That's me. Yeah. I think as the tornado starts to fill, we starts to kind of bear in on this this kind of green lightning streaks across the sky, and we see words start to get pulled from the school towards the tornado. Like we see the words that were floating up in the air, like a wall burst off the library as words just come pouring out of the school and pointing towards the tornado.
All of the books on the back of what was the name you suggested, Tony, for the dog?
Go dog go.
For all the words on all the books in the back of Go Dog Go, which by the way had all turned into composition notebooks,
Great.
fly open, and yeah, the books fly open, and then similar thing happens. And Go Dog Go, who's made entirely out of metal, starts to just kind of plaintively float upwards, going.
I think the tornado pulls the code out of Go Dog Go.
Oh yeah,
You see it in strings.
Strings of what is obviously code start flying out of
We
the
see the
property.
light go out of Go Dog's Go's eyes before its body gets turned apart.
Sounds about right.
Taken
about
too
right.
soon.
And our initial inclination, at least my initial inclination, is to run, but because of our magnetized blood, it is there's just like it's not like a mental compulsion that we've been feeling lately. It is literally like we are being pulled to the tornado in the distance. But not as hard as Go Dog Go.
Well,
So it's hard to run.
yeah. And I think one thing we notice as part of the take stock is that we had not gone to the basement. The basement might be a really good place to be right now, or underground in any possible way.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's also really interesting. Just I was checking which locations are coming up, and like the location after the campfire is the subway. So underground might make a lot of sense.
Yeah. The subway and then the sewers. We're gonna be down there for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fine with I mean ending the scene with like I just follow my own instructions, like head into the basement to wherever the personnel and other students went.
Sure.
Damn.
All right. Start turn. We
feel
are
like we
going to
should
go ahead and
probably
move to campfire.
Yeah, as a time check, we're slightly more than halfway
Yeah.
through, and we probably have slightly more than halfway left. So we probably want to
So
up in the latter part.
It's such a fun game.
whether we've moved to another space or not, we're moving to the campfire. It will be an ideologically different space.
It will rest our weary bones.
The expedition rests their weary bones. Beyond this point, the most dangerous part of the zone, soon characters will die, but for a few hours you are safe. Go around and each share your theories about the nature of the zone. Optional is also now a good time for any unresolved character relationships. This may be your last chance. I think my character, I didn't do any character action. I actually kind of like the idea that like the basement is a chemistry lab, and I have just like we see like Bunsen burners flickering around that I have set up. There's some sort of dark heap in the corner, like the sense of dripping of blood, but there's plenty of warmth down here also. No one else comes down, but as y'all burst down, there's kind of this dark opening at the corner of this what looks like an old science lab that leads further out underground. And my character starts and says, "Well, no meat plants so far."
Well, I think you need to really focus on the meat plants. If you want the meat plants, I think the one thing that's become clear is it gives us maybe not what we want, but
what we need, and I'm gonna like nod over at our now pubescent friend.
Fuck off, man. Just fuck off.
Hey, don't talk back to your elders.
Yeah.
Look, you're gonna need a medical permission slip signed at some point, and I'm your best bet right now.
I am going to like move my chair a little outside the circle of light and soak.
I think Yaniel.
Anyway, wait, hold on. Sorry. What
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I still gonna, but I look over my shoulder and I'm like, It hasn't won shit, okay? It hasn't won shit. It made me younger. So what? I get to grow up again. I get to do it better this time. It hasn't won shit.
How are y'all feeling now?
I'm confused, not doing maths anymore, but really confused. How the inverse gravity and magnetic field works in this inverse universe. It's pretty unknown for me, so it's something that I theorize about it, but don't know how it works for sure.
I think Yaniel is not he's not like he's not just upset by the death of of his go wait sorry what was it, Tony? Go big go
Go dog go.
Go, dog, go.
It's not just his upsetness at the loss of Go Dog Go, which he formed a small bond with, but I think the thing that's really he's not sad about it, he's pissed off about it, is that he's dedicated his whole life to words, and all he's seen is this incomprehensible entity taking words off the page and giving him absolutely no patterns that he can communicate with. And it's just pissing him off. He's like, why me? Why now? Like I'm here. I'm ready to communicate. I've studied. Like if you're going to communicate with anyone, Zone. Man shouts at cloud kind of thing. Like you're clearly intelligent in some way, and he's just very frustrated right now because watching all his books turn into composition notebooks and all the words get ripped off the page. It just feels like a personal insult. Like it's trying to tell him something in the one way that he can't understand, and removing the one tool that he has to understand things with. And it's just frustrating as hell. And at that moment, he has like a couple more books just in his jacket. He pulls one out and the words just fucking fall off the page. They just fall. And he flings it on the ground. He's like, ugh. God damn it.
That dog might be why I'm here. And now it's gone. So quick. Barely a day in.
Dog
That was
might be why you're here.
Okay.
How was the dog? Even like
I know you don't know this, but I worked at I know we're supposed to kind of keep our personal lives to ourselves. That's protocol, but I worked at the Bureau, and eventually right before this expedition set off, they canned me because of how much money was going into all of these expeditions. Because I kind of, after a certain amount of time, I got to start granting the ridiculous requests. Oh, sure, you can have your robot dog. That's fine. If that makes you feel okay about going into this nightmare, I'll grant it. That's, who knows where the Bureau's, the money comes from any Bureau. It's a pit. It's a limitless pit. I figured, what's a fucking robot dog? But I guess that was, I don't know. I can't confirm it was that, but something pushed that over the edge. And now it was either keep going on unemployment or see what it's all been about.
I wish I would have known. I would have asked for better meals, and then I'll toss the MRE down again. We can end the scene. I'm actually going to say, let's go ahead real quick because I actually need to just refill my beverage. Let's take a short 3-minute stretch break. If that's cool with everybody, campfire seems like a good time to do that. We're going to take just a short break, refill our beverages, take care of our bladders, do all the things that normal people do. You should do those for yourself also. We'll be back in just one moment to keep on playing The Zone. Hey, if you're out there watching right now, we'll be back in just one moment. A couple things I want to let you know about. We've got some great other streams coming up this weekend. Starting tomorrow, we've got our 3+ week series of Apocalypse Keys. A PBTA or carved from Brindlewood game about monsters trying to stop the apocalypse, or maybe causing it. If you love stuff like Hellboy and other games, or other comics and media in that genre, come play with us. And Ray Najati, the creator, is going to be here with us, running that along with some of our favorite folks to sit down and play with. On Sunday, we've got character study with Keegan EXE, Sarah, Frank, and me also too. I'm going to be teaching people how to create GURPS characters. It's part of the new Cult EXE content. And then on Monday, we're going to be playing Dead Belt here live on stream with a couple of Drakes. Very excited about all these streams this Labor Day weekend. Hope y'all are having a great time if you're here in the U.S. or if you're not in the U.S. But take time and enjoy your 3-day weekend. Play games with people you love, or join us live here as we'll keep on playing. We'll be back in just 1 minute to keep on playing The Zone.
Yeah.
And we are live again here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content, discussing Raph's facial hair phobia and how it was triggered by realizing he was the only one on stream without a mustache. And so we just were pausing at the campfire for our characters, so we took a short little break also. Then we're going to dive back in.
Can I go?
Yep.
Dive in.
Your health passed away. This is a few great time to take a few minutes to stretch.
Oh.
Let's
we
move
just
to
did
the
it too
subway.
quickly.
It's happening.
So
I
it's a
think-
must die in the coming scene. They cannot be stopped by not so easy cards, only by another play asking to claim their fate. Even after the scene is underway. After death, I will continue playing turns as the zone. I will accept this fate.
Brave.
This is why the second half of the game accelerates.
Yeah. So cool. So cool. I love playing this game. This is why, this is why I wrecked my sleep schedule.
Chaos.
Because playing this game is worth it.
I think this makes sense.
Yeah,
Automato,
it fit the vibe.
Automato Shuttle. still early running. Plexiglass doors and electric transit cars now follow their own schedule. A creature creates a terrible moral conundrum.
No, not a trolley problem.
Jesus.
What
No.
choice is presented to the expedition? What makes this conundrum so thought for someone in the expedition? I guess it's my fate too. Face the creation, the creature.
Or is it?
So what is the creature? What do we see?
Yeah.
Like what if we hump into this subway where the trains are?
Or do we even
Still
see a
on-
creature right away?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
The trains could be the creatures.
yes,
It
it's
could
a
be
it's
a
a
literal
mix
trolley problem.
for sure. It's a mix of the cars from the subway, the vehicles from the subway that now are alive and follow their own schedule. So it starts to it waits for me to cross the the railroads and
The tracks.
yeah the tracks and it ignites.
As you move forward towards them, let's stop and take stock for a second.
Okay.
Like we see, I think this one trolley kind of all of a sudden stop in front of us and open its doors like a gaping maw. And at that moment in time, I think like fluorescent lights that were very dim for a second like erupt and become lighter and start to flicker all around us.
There's a smell of weirdly the first thing that comes to my head is like vegetable oil past its smoke point.
Totally.
Like burning cooking oil. Burning, I guess, organic oils essentially in the air.
There's this really weird thing where when we're on the platform and when the train doors open, there's this strong air pressure. There's kind of like, and as the air blows past us, it's like we're hearing like hundreds of people. We can't see them, but we're hearing just the sounds of a packed train. And then if we step into the train when the doors close, when they open again, it's like we're hearing people on the platform that we can't see. But just within this transition, there's always like the sounds of a packed rush hour train station that are just blasting out just as the air transitions, and then it goes back to silence. Very weird.
When we're in the car and we look out the windows, kind of into the darkness of the train like catacombs or whatever, like our reflections in the windows aren't right, and it takes a minute to figure out. It takes a second to figure out why, but our eyes in the reflections are headlights.
What color are the headlights?
Yeah. I mean, like they're just they're. I guess in Seth's case, they're green. But they're because it's like the kind of desaturated black black mirror effect with the window to blackness, but it's just your eyes appear to be like light sources in the reflection, clearly train headlights, and also like out beyond you can see the headlights of other trains and the windows of passing trains, just like it looks as though it goes on for miles and miles and miles. You can see like tiny little train lights in the distance, what must be dozens of miles away. Just endlessly.
Yeah.
Wow. You'd love to see it.
Die. And so I
I like Lucas is just like ready to kill himself.
So Seth seems to hear something, not like with his ears, but with his blood and his body, and some sort of electromagnetic waves that now make sense to him as a new form of hearing something. And this voice, this electromagnetic voice, tells him to go to the trails, and he just stops and starts walking in the directions of the trails.
Where are you going?
He looks at you, open his mouth, and there is not a voice coming from his mouth, but the sound of steam, like and he jumps on the trails.
Damn.
Fuck.
Is that it? That's a lot. I mean, I'm still reeling over. He hears with his blood. That's really good.
So that was so jam fucking packed.
Yeah.
Goodness.
I think that's the
That's
end of the
awesome.
scene. Like, what are we gonna do to top that shit?
Yeah.
There is now one with the zone. I'm one with the zone. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
GG.
Okay, at the first player to die, get to 3, you're okay. Dice traditions embodying the zone, you still take normal turns. Okay, now it's chance to focus for weird, magical, horrible situations plays. Check on obsessions and phobias so you can incorporate them into the scenes. Great.
All right. We are going to keep moving over to the sewers.
Somebody's
Man, we
gonna
got
die.
this great underground themes going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This makes sense.
Not Yaniel Doxson.
No.
Okay.
I have an idea.
Okay. Oh,
No,
did it take control from me?
It does because it is the person's death scene.
Oh, they get to direct their death scene. That
they
does
direct
make
their own
sense,
death scene.
doesn't it? Yeah, okay.
Did you have something in mind though? Because if you did, throw it out.
No, not even.
All right, so I have an idea. So, I think we kind of keep following the subway. We keep getting on trains, getting off trains, and similar to what happened in the school, we get into this like weird like commuter mindset. Like we're just commuting. We're just kind of going through the motions. Like y'all know that thing where you're commuting and you just get so used to doing it that you're just kind of in that like half awake kind of, all right, always get on here, always get off here, just get off the train, get off the platform of this thing, go up the escalator, like that kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
You're in that weird mind space, and it's that kind of like you're kind of half living. Commuting is horrible. The half living mind space of commuting. You're not alive and you're not dead. You're just commuting.
Eternal liminality.
Yeah.
And so like this continues for a while, and at some point we kind of we like come to, and we realize that we're in this like gothic, this kind of gothic undercity. And it's interesting. It's like these like old sewer, gothic undercity where old things lie best undisturbed. Gargoyles, surprisingly elegant bridges, storerooms, often blocked by iron bars. Storeroom, and we're just like, it's very confusing. It's very confusing that we're here, but we're here now.
Can I throw in that like we were getting on and off like different trains at different times, and just like,
and we all
eventually-
showed up in the
yeah.
same place.
yeah,
Oh, that's freaking awesome. Yeah.
it's like a few different scenes of like, oh, it's my stop. Hey, have a great one.
Mhm.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna pick another scene prompt. Okay, perfect. So I think we're going through these sewers, and it's like really, it's quite destabilizing for Daniel in particular, because in those storerooms there's just like all this stuff locked away, and there's also like stacks of books. And he continues with his, every time he goes in there, he opens them all up. He's hoping to find some kind of meeting, but they're all empty. Just every single one. And all he just wants like one very simple thing. And that's just like some kind of communication. Something from the zone. Just to prove that it wants him. It wants something. What's everyone else doing, by the way, as we walk through here? Yeah. Take stock. How's everyone else feeling, and what are you all feeling and doing?
I mean, I would love, in general, addition to like taking stock, I'd love to hear what everybody else sees behind a barred off door that they can't get to, that their character desperately wants.
Oh yeah.
I think there's like a constant dripping sound, but the space itself is actually fairly arid. Like there's a sense of like almost no humidity in the space, but the constant noise of kind of water dropping. We see Dr. Orange stop by and look in and kind of like almost try to reach through a set of bars to see if he can almost grab this, what looks like a bottle of moonshine, like off of the edge of a table that's pushed up near it, but it's like just out of reach. Like we actually watch his hands like brush against the edge of it and push it slightly further away, and he can't quite grab it.
Yeah, I think kind of like jumping off of that a bit, Maximilian sees, in one of these locked off storerooms, his cool as hell leather jacket that he was wearing
When we got here,
when we entered the zone. Yeah, which you guys didn't even like comment on, which was like, but you don't know fashion, so it's fine.
it's a leather jacket. I mean,
It's a nice leather jacket, okay? And and so he sees it in there, and at this point he's just like, he's not gonna like rattle on the bars to try and get at it or anything, but he just looks at it and he's just fucking, and then slowly water starts dripping from the ceiling directly onto the leather jacket. And Maximilian's just like, you fucking dick. And turns away.
I think Herb is looking at through these bars at his office. Back at the bureau. It's his office. It's got It's got everything you might expect from some loser bureaucrat guy. He's got the Newton's cradle on the desk, like a monitor that it's not a CRT monitor, but it's not a nice one. It's probably like a 4.3, one of the first LCD monitors there were. On the framed on the wall is like an early 2000s demotivational poster, his favorite one. It's not funny, but he thinks it is. And there's just like this weird pining, I guess, that he feels, and that then kind of seeps its way into the air of like, what if things were kind of boring? Wouldn't that be nice?
Wow.
Maximilian feels a strange, nameless urge to kick someone in the ass.
Lucas, anything that you want to add to the scene?
Yeah, so in the sewers, you all realize that maybe time is not making it. It's not linear anymore. The hours is not passing as they should be outside the zone. You're not sure if time stopped counting, or you are in the future or in the past. But if you guess, if you know, the sensations that you all got about the time is that it's regretting not passing to the future. It's becoming to the past.
I think one detail we notice that kind of confirms this is the direction of the flow of the water in the sewer seems very inconsistent. Like sometimes the water is flowing in one direction, and then you look at it again, and then it's just flowing backwards. Sometimes it's flowing obviously uphill. Sometimes there's like a waterfall, but it's obviously going up instead of down. And there's just it doesn't make sense. Like if you were to try and like map the, walk around and just see the direction stuff is flowing into other stuff, it just wouldn't make any sense. You'd have two parts of the river flowing into themselves, and then another part where it's just like, you've got like a river part of the sewer, and it's just one. You look on one side of it's flowing this way, and the other side is flowing this way, and you can't tell where the seam is. You can't tell where it starts flowing in the two directions. It doesn't make sense. It shouldn't. Water doesn't work that way, but
yeah,
it's very.
You started feeling this at the subway, but now you are sure how it's.
Yeah, on the subway, when you got into a train that was going in one direction, and then it was also going in both other directions, then a third direction that you couldn't quite make sense of at the same time.
Yeah.
I want to.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, please.
I was gonna say, Herb wants to kind of like focus every fiber on being in that office. Like, he wants to get in the office. He wants to just be in there, which is probably not so easy. Like trying to channel that, like when he accidentally summoned a tornado that took all the words away. Like, what if I could summon not this?
But it's definitely not so easy.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Let's just see what happens. All right. So yes, I am able to like kind of zap myself through these bars, but Zone mutates me in a shocking way. And it's the only reason I succeed. Let me take a look at the cheat sheet, see if I can think of anything. trying to think of what would make sense like for that mindset of like trying to give in to this tendency of the environment to like regress to the past. In a way that's not just, oh, he's also teenage him, because that
Yeah, totally. I don't know. I had an idea earlier today for an interesting like body thing, which I don't know. It was
lungs on the outside.
no. It's it in my head it was focused on the arm, but it could split to the rest of your body. So, but basically the idea is that your arm subdivides until it's made up of hundreds of tiny spindly arms.
God.
And it can like spread out, and so this could just happen to your whole self. Just all of these tiny little stick thin things that wriggle through the bars.
Well, so I do like that a lot, but I'm sort of imagining that I don't go through the bars. Like I just am through the bar. Like I just end up in there.
I don't know what mutation gets you in there.
Well, it'd be terrible if you were in there and also not in there.
Yeah, that's a good one, I think.
No, yeah, shocking mutation. There's another one of you.
I think it's, so how about it's the mutation that I get here is like I am in two different times. And so like or like I guess maybe it's two different spaces at once. Like I'm experiencing both. There's basically half of me is split into this office where he thinks that he's just in the office and he's living his old life and he's we've got to prepare for the 14th expedition. It's coming. And then there's still the me that is outside the bars, like just staring in at that office, imagining what it'd be like out there or in there until somebody like snaps me out of it. And one of you does, which I mean, we might find out what happens to Yaniel here soon. So I'm just experiencing both of these things at once without knowing about it.
Should we take stock inside the office?
Yeah.
I was almost wondering. We can take stock. I was almost wondering if it might make more sense for Adam to take the fate card here.
Don't tell Adam what fate card to take.
I know. But it just seemed interesting.
No, I have something in mind for Daniel. If
Okay.
Yeah, have at it.
But I think it might involve that office.
Okay. So let's take stock of it.
Well, because one thing I was going to add is a detail, which is on the desk is a book, some kind of document, and it has text on it.
Great.
Yeah.
What kind of text?
I think we'll find out when Daniel kind of goes over and is like, notices the bureaucrat just kind of just in a trance, kind of like by the bars, then looks over and sees him on the inside and sees that there is this thing on the desk and starts frantically trying to get in as well, right?
Mm-hmm. I think you notice, maybe the first thing you notice is that the shitty demotivational poster has text on it and you're like, wait, text?
Like everything in the office is just as
and then you
text or files.
You see the book and then you start darting around.
I think Daniel is now suddenly in the office as well.
Okay.
What other details are there in this office?
You have a calculator that stopped in a scientific calculators that stopped in an outcome in the results of a calculation that you saw in the last Ceph notebook as well.
Mm.
Amazing.
Is it like when you were frantically doing calculus, you're saying it's like kind of running through those same calculations?
when he showed you the notebook and said, "Is it correct? Is it correct?" It was this result, this number that is in the stocked calculator.
I think in the office there's also, just to like go for a real classic, there's suddenly pictures on the wall that have Seth and Yaniel together, like a bunch of pictures from a friendship that never happened. You know, you two out at the bar, you two like at a friend's birthday party or something, getting a beer, playing a board game, going skiing, you know, and maybe in all of these pictures that are otherwise very normal, they're all pictures of Seth like holding up like a notebook with that answer, with that result on it, and both of you are kind of like grinning and like pointing at it, like, "Hey."
Yeah, and I think Yaniel looks at that, and I'm just going to go for the biggest cliche on the face of the planet, because why not? And Yaniel looks at that answer and goes, "Oh, the language that I needed to learn was mathematics. The only language that describes the truth of the universe."
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It was
The
math the whole
universal.
time.
The answer was
Universal.
in the structure itself. And I think Yaniel kind of basically realizes his entire life is completely meaningless. And in the zone, the problem is, if what you believe becomes true, and you believe that your existence is meaningless, well, that becomes true as well. And he lets go of his obsession because he realizes obsession and everything he's devoted his whole life to is completely futile. And what happens when there's nothing pulling you into the future is that, well, you know, the arrow of time no longer carries you with it. And Yaniel just stopped. Just the entity, the arrangement of mass and energy called Yaniel just stops moving through the 4-dimensional space of space-time. It just halts.
Nice. That's so good.
And there's a short after image, and you can see his face, which is just a kind of like a little bit of a shock and like a slight smile when he realizes that, you know, whatever it was had been communicating with him this whole time, and he just didn't understand it. But it just very rapidly just kind of fades, like, you know, when someone takes a camera flash in your retina. And then there's just no Yaniel. Yaniel's just gone.
Yeah.
Done.
Great.
One with the zone. Pretty cool. Oh,
Yaniel. Some might say that he had ascended to a different plane.
Boo.
Sorry.
Stargate jokes.
Sorry.
could I claim this turn since?
I mean,
I guess
you
we'll
can,
figure,
but it won't matter.
It won't
Yeah.
matter. You're absolutely right. I forgot.
Raph, do you want to go ahead and click that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think we'll move to the museum.
Yeah.
The surgeon, Dr. Bones.
All right. I accept my fate. In the museum. Oh man, that top one is very good, but we're gonna do this. I think we kind of come into this what seems like a large cathedral. And as it opens up in front of us, we find ourselves, those of us left, the entrepreneur, the bureaucrat, and the surgeon, in a large, like, there's obvious displays, but kind of like a Muter museum, if you know what that is. So it's a local Philly museum, the best city in the great state of Pennsylvania.
Wow. Hey, wait a minute. You're probably not wrong.
We don't need bridges. We have museums. Muter Museum is like a weird science collection museum. Lots of old bones, lots of pickled body parts, just lots of creepy things in jars.
Cool.
But I think it's a ton of those. But I do think we see like some large articulated things, and there is a little bit of the sense almost of someone trying to make this a natural science museum, but none of the animals make any sort of cognitive sense as we see these spirals of like bone articulating across the ceiling. And it looks like what looked initially like kind of Gothic cathedral architecture up above. We look up and we realize is like the internal ribbing of some sort of giant creature arching across the top of the space, with just a labyrinthine maze of oddities collected in jars and curios placed on shelves.
Ooh.
Excellent.
That's really good.
And yeah, so we kind of see this in kind of spreading out in front of us, and even as we like come in, we get the sense of this space kind of yawning out in front of us. And I think it's very obvious even from above that this place is a maze of corridors made out of these shelves of curios. Let's take stock. I think there's kind of a formaldehyde smell that permeates the air as we kind of enter into this space. It's heavy and stark and unpleasant. But Mike, I think the Dr. Bones actually somewhat revels in it a little bit.
I think it's at this point where the three of us still walking around become like something about the formaldehyde smell and the general aura. We become hyper aware of the fact that our hearts haven't beaten since we've been here, and are like that was just sort of something that we kind of accepted and moved on when we entered the zone. But now it's like, no, my blood hasn't moved, and should I just merge into the wall here and be an exhibit as a dead guy whose heart hasn't beat or lungs haven't pumped in days?
Very cool.
I can imagine that the curios would be just, as you look around, there's just, amongst the curios, hundreds of jars of specimens, just jars with old extinct fish and strange, woodland creatures. They kind of look like you could recognize them. Like this thing in front of you, it kind of looks like a rabbit, but you can't tell if it's the refraction of the jar or the fact that it's been there for a while, but something's off about it. And everything is just meticulously labeled and dated for when it was collected. And the dates are just all over the place. Like some of the dates are 1,000 years in the future. Some of them are tomorrow. Some of them are 100 years ago. I mean, it's just, it can't be right.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Bones realized that the organs and the specimens and the functions of the organisms here, he can't comprehend he's not, maybe he's obsolete, is like he's phobia for this kind of organisms. He didn't study this kind of functions of these organisms, and maybe he can't understand how these weird specimens from the future and from the far past actual works or functions.
I think Maximilian is peering at some jars, and there's one jar that's about yay big, and he squints into it. It's hard to see what's in there, and then there's a little tapping on the glass, and inside it, and there is swimming in there a tiny little naked version of him. And he starts back, and he looks at the name tag, or he looks at the little plaque, and it says "The Coward." And he bumps against like a terrarium. He turns around, and it's like it's like a regular terrarium, for some small like reptiles or something like that, and he bumps it, and suddenly like spilling across like the floor of the terrarium are thousands of these tiny little Maximilians running, and a little sign beeps on in the corner that says "Feeding Time," and a tarantula emerges from its burrow on the other side and just wades into it and just starts consuming them. So that's what Maximilian's up to.
What could possibly not be right?
I think all of a sudden a guttural howl like erupts from somewhere in the stacks, and we hear the breaking of like tile underfoot as something large starts. We can hear it starting to roam around.
Oh, it's just it's hard to imagine how it could possibly be worse than that, but it's so much worse than that. And I mean so much worse than that, because the formaldehyde in the jars starts to kind of bubble and expand, and the tops start coming off, and you realize that the thing that's walking around probably unjarred. It was unjarred not too long ago. And there's a whole lot of other things they're starting to unjar themselves. Yep.
Who did the Foley effects there?
Some
Jesus.
good Foley.
Lids popping off, pinging off the walls. And things are just crawling out of every jar. Every jar you look at, every direction, there's just something horrifying from the future or from the past, from the ocean or from the land, or sometimes from the sky, just crawling out of a jar.
I'm gonna punch a big like eagle rat in the face.
The eagle rat is knocked unconscious.
You gain experience points.
Hell yeah.
Level up your character. Choose 2 skills.
Choose 2 new mutations.
The terrarium, one wall of the terrarium breaks open, and a bunch of the cowards like spill out, and Maximilian's just like, because they're just like getting on him and like climbing on him.
Fear factor.
What's going on, Bones?
So I think we see us kind of like starting to tear through this as these different things are happening. Eagle rats are popping out. We see a oddly like synergized teamwork mini Maximilian statue operating as a full-sized body of Max, cooperating down the hallway, like towards us. And I think there's a realization like we hit a like a dead end, and we like this thing is coming, whatever it is. and we there's a realization that like the only way like out is up, and so I think we see like us human pyramiding each, like, somebody over the top. Who goes over first?
I'll go.
Okay. And we watch you reach back down and like pull up other character, and like at that point in time, this horrific beast comes around the corner, and it's whatever it is. It looks like it's actually the amalgamation of a lot of the things we've seen so far coming out of these jars, like just formed together. But there is no. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the way they're moving is the exact same way that Go Dog Go moved.
Oh my gosh! Yes, it is. It is like as if Go Dog Go reborn, but significantly larger, coming down. But there is no head where Go Dog Go's head would normally be. And we watch as like Go Dog closes in, and we see Bones like reach for a shelf like next to them, and it just like he picks up a jar and he like looks at it and he kind of like smiles and laughs, and then like opens it up and drinks this foul, thick, brackish fluid inside.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Why not?
And then like he just starts laughing his head off as he dissolves down into a pile on the floor. This lumbering thing comes over. It looks as if it's sniffing down at this pile. And then all of a sudden this long like whip-like tongue like articulates out of the neck hole and starts to lap it up into its head. And you can see this grotesque head starting to form as you kind of fall back off the other side of the
and the
stacks.
grotesque head is the head of Dr. Bones Orange.
We'll never know.
All right.
We're going to the mall.
I love the mall. Mall's my favorite location.
Thank you for that
We
amalgamation.
had a pretty good time in the mall last time we played.
Herb must die in the upcoming scene. By the way, while I'm choosing one of these, Tony, there's a place in Pittsburgh called the Museum of Post-Natural History that I haven't been to yet, but it's also, I think, very like kind of similar to what you were describing.
Yeah,
there.
Pittsburgh oftentimes tries to be like Philadelphia. We get it.
Well, I think it's like fake stuff. It's like some weirdos like combining skeletons and be like, look, what if this was a guy?
Oh yeah, no. Mutter Museum is like just weird dude who starts collecting baby teeth for no reason.
Oh. Normal state that we live in here.
It's actually at the College of Physicians in Philadelphia. Show the audience a little bit about what they can get up to at the Mutter Museum.
I went to the website. It was just skulls.
I mean, there are a lot of skulls there. I'm not gonna lie.
Not enough for you, Adam?
Like just the main page is just lines of skulls. Which is
how many skulls are in your local museum?
Certainly a vibe.
That's because the Hurdle Skull Collection. You can there's a section where you can select what you're into. The options are everything bones, medical history, art, infection disease, public health, models, rare conditions, tools, and toxicology. So if you sort to things that aren't bones, you'll get a lot more non-bone stuff.
Makes sense. But bones are like the new thing.
Yeah.
Great.
I feel like we need to make an TTRPG that's just this website.
Yeah. And it's called the Mutter Zone.
Ooh.
Ship it.
All right, we arrive here. Maximilian Debutante and Herb Manners.
God, I forgot that was his
Kind
last
of-
name till just now.
we thrust ourselves up out of this strange museum of specimens and slurping, and it's a farmer's market. It's like a full-on, everybody's here. People are milling about, buying the latest pickles and spicy peppers and all the other stuff that you get at the farmer's market. There's
Spicy
even
pickled peppers, pickled spicy peppers.
right. There's even like the stalls where you are like, hey, you could get green energy at your house. It really makes a difference. They're trying to rope you in. All these things are happening at this farmer's market. And let's get that scene prompt. And then something dead is going to deliver a message. Great.
We all know I'm going to click take stock.
Yeah, let's do that, and then we'll figure out what the dead thing is. Or maybe both will happen at once.
All these things are being hawked, and they're being hawked like by obvious voices, but just like down below, like they seem to almost be on mechanical repeat. Like as much as anyone who's ever worked a booth or done retail knows, you say the same thing over and over and over and over again. It quickly becomes apparent, especially as you look closer at the people working the stalls and realize these are mannequins. Like they are going through robotic motions of hawking all this stuff. The other like the scant customers you see here are also these kind of very lifelike, fully clothed, like painted face mannequins that are going through a loop of behavior in this farmer's market.
What's really strange is that the mannequins in the shop windows look very much like people. Real flesh and blood people.
The food that we talked about, it all smells right. You lift a pickle to your nose and you smell the pickle. Why that's a pickle, but they're all plastic toys.
That's what I always do with
like
pickles.
like in a kid's kitchen play set. You know, they have the little plastic chicken wing, the little plastic cob of corn. Everything at this farmer's market. You know, and I bet if you bit into one, it might taste okay, but they're not hollow, so it's hard to know what's inside.
You all look at the outdoor of the mannequin shop, and it says meat fruits.
I was going to add.
Couldn't wait for the meat fruits to show up.
Yeah. That's like the one stall that it's like real. It's not plastic pickles. They got the real meat fruit here.
Yeah.
It's got the juice.
I grab a big old meat apple and take a bite, which I think is not so easy.
Yeah.
It's not. Oh, it's not.
The thing that I want to do is eat the meat fruit.
That's all any of us wanted to do.
And I apparently cannot eat the meat fruit. I'm mutating. I'm feeling the zone asking what I've long wanted, and it gives it to me.
Oh boy.
What has Herb Manners long wanted? Because I think this is now the way I've been sort of mentally playing this character since the split is that all of the bureaucratic like wants and needs are still in the sewers, and now this is whatever raw, undeveloped Herb Manners was hidden underneath all of those layers of procedure and never trying to think outside of the box and never really doing much. So I think the thing that I want here is where do I go there? I thought I had something. Asking you what you've long wanted. I guess it's just, and I don't think he can bring himself to actually say it, but like it's this zone knows what he's trying to not say, which is he kind of wants to experience and enjoy and embrace chaos and strangeness. And so the mutation, I think maybe this is where we get close to Quinn, the one that you suggested earlier.
Yeah.
But it's not like my arm is made up of 100 little arms. It's just that like whenever Herb decides to, like, you know how you don't decide to move your arm, you just move your arm. Now it's sort of like whenever I decide to move my arm, just something else moves. Like basically all of the nerve impulses are all of the physical nerve impulses are sort of randomized for Herb from here on out. Where it's like I try to walk, and instead I like do a backflip, or instead I just start pumping my fists up in the air, and there's just zero control over it.
Totally.
Your body don't have procedures anymore.
Right? Yeah.
Ugh.
And it rocks.
Oh, good. Great.
How do you feel?
It's amazing. The one thing that does get through is like this laughter, this giddy like, oh, and he's like shouting and walloping, and he can't eat this fruit, but it doesn't matter.
Why does it feel so good?
It's so like, people can say, a little bit of structure feels great in life. Like knowing what you're going to do that day is often very nice, but it's also really nice to not know and just kind of go with the flow and whatever you end up doing, whether that's sitting on the couch and like not doing anything for a day or going on some adventure, that's also nice. And Herb has never done either of those things. He's always done what he's supposed to do that day. Nothing more, nothing less. And so just like not doing anything you're supposed to do is sort of liberating in some horrible soul-crushing way. Or should be soul-crushing, but for the viewer, because of this sad man.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
And I don't know, Maximilian, if you want to appear at all in this scene, or if these nerve impulses just eventually, like, because that obviously can't. Eventually, one of the random impulses is like basically a self-destruct code. So I think that would just continue until it's over.
Well, you can also just stay, be one with the zone. It can also just mean you just stay in the mall forever.
Right. Yeah. Just part of this farmer's market.
Yeah.
At the meat fruit stand.
I think probably we got separated, and I might have just forgot you ever existed.
Great.
And I might just be wandering until I hit the center.
All right.
To the center. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a heck of a
Let's go to the center.
And I guess it's me, I claim, or I guess Tony can start it. Okay.
You die, but it's far from over. Even though your character is dead, you still play turns as the director. It's me. Start. Move to the center.
Oh, of course, right, because it's not the
Right.
same thing. Entrepreneur.
Only Quinn can move into the center.
The fucking wish. Okay, that's for everyone else to decide.
Disaster. Why is it the entrepreneur here?
It all changed. What?
The lone survivor has made it to the legendary center of the zone. What do we think it is? We've kind of, like, thinking about how we've depicted the zone so far, we've done a lot of this weird repetition of human forms and spaces. This kind of this Escher-esque recombinance So I wonder if this is kind of another, like an exponential increase of that. That gets anybody's brain going.
Yeah, I feel like whenever it is, it does. To me, like the phrase "just outside of time" keeps coming up in my brain for this, because like we've done so much with it's going to the past, it's going to the future. Like we're caught somewhere in between. So I feel like by the time you get to the center, the past and the future like aren't concepts here.
Yeah.
No, you don't know how you got to the center. You don't know if you are gonna go to the center. You don't know if you have been to the center. You don't know if you are in the center.
Yeah.
You don't know how you got here.
It is a space that I am physically incapable of comprehending. Okay, well let's meet it then. The perfect thrill.
Perfect thrill. Too many dimensions to even imagine.
Yeah. Do a short flashback of the origin of this obsession. I mean, you know, I think Maximilian is, for all intents and purposes, not a very complicated man. You know, like he wasn't born wealthy, but he was born with good genes, a winning smile, and the desire to get people to look at him and to have a good time, and he's just kind of run with that, you know, and nobody stopped him. Does it still drive the wish? I don't know. Just thinking about like the things this guy has experienced since entering the zone. The perfect thrill. I think especially with the age regression, this definitely, like, this can't be that absolutely is not what he still wants. It doesn't still drive my wish.
Damn. We're not going to get the most lucrative amusement park on planet Earth.
I just don't see that happening. No.
I wish we'd pulled the amusement park location.
The Zone is a good name for the music.
Oh, fuck. It really is. Okay, describe how the Zone tells you that it's ready to hear this wish. Which I guess is you guys as the Zone.
Yeah, I think I'm imagining that the Zone is... We've established that it communicates mathematically.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Math.
Just the equations just flying from the face. No, I think I would say the Zone, clearly it's shown us it's communicating in this like incomprehensible way by just kind of showing you futures and pasts, and kind of, so it's like nudging you with this flashback. Like maybe that flashback wasn't, the game asking us to do that. It was actually the Zone was showing you that, you know? And so perhaps you realize that the Zone is communicating with you. It's like waiting for you to kind of, I think even just to kind of verbalize something.
It's like
Maybe,
this sense of like something's listening.
It's listening, and it wants you to not tell it, but to imagine what you want the wish to be, to form an image in your head. That's how it wants to be in dream time.
I think the Zone is synesthetic, but I don't know if guys know this word, synesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good one.
but not in a sense way that we have like touching, hearing. It's abroad. It's more elaborated than this. It's like I said, the blood can hear, the eyes can, yeah, the eyes can pulse. I don't know. The mouth can speaks like steam. I don't know. It's like the zone is a synesthetic zone. Yes, the place that uh, you have to integrate with it in ways that are not common or not like this, something like this.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I don't know. There's a lot of
No, it's
annihilation feelings here. I think like the
Yeah.
book. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and all the
Just
like the
trying
senses,
to-
all of the senses beyond, you know,
Yeah,
not just the five that we say are the
yeah,
five.
yeah, yeah.
The,
That's
the other
what I'm
ones,
trying to
your
say.
your
Yeah,
balance, like your
love.
Yeah. As you feel love sending back to you. As you feel fear, you feel, transmuting into a feeling of fear in the environment and the sounds, and it's just kind of, it's mirroring you. It's listening as hard as anything can possibly listen.
Yeah.
It's really I've been thinking my ass off about this wish. What a difficult thing to figure. I think okay.
You have to trigger
Okay.
the wish. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll trigger the wish. think I think this is a good one. There's some room for you to there's some room for you to interpret it playfully, I think. I wish to be a whole person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. You got the most not so. Okay, so I got the most not so easy cards while alive. Those are now the judgment deck. I'll decide how the zone treats the wish by choosing a card from this deck. Tony and Lucas, you'll influence the final judgment by adding one card each to the judgment deck and describing a possible way things might go. Raph, you got 0 not so easy cards. Your consciousness is too far gone to influence the judgment, which
Right.
does track because you just sort of disappeared into the.
Yeah.
You simply stopped.
Indeed.
Dark judgment.
So it's turn time.
Yeah, so Tony, you'll add a card.
I had a lot of options.
So many.
I can also there's also a second version of the wish that I had if this one is
Too bad.
Okay, I just wanted to, just if it was too tricky, but yeah.
No. No, and you get your original wish, in this version. You tame the totality of non-linearity and bend it to your will, to provide to provide others the thrill of their life as you slowly become fat on the overflowing emotional runoff that you drain from people as they enter into this. It's not just their pocketbooks that you drain, but their very souls that you become sated on as you manipulate this to destroy all of humanity in a mega corporation amusement park that consumes the globe.
Cool.
Sick.
And my turn.
To become a whole person, you remembered or became your teenager being back then.
Yeah.
So the actual you, the present you, is not whole, but maybe the teenager could be. And he could have some fun running and playing in the amusement park.
Juicy.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
And so time is not linear here. So
Yeah. So
no
just,
and yes and.
So
There is a
just
time as he's not whole, but in another time he's whole.
Awesome.
All right.
You gonna hit that
Yeah,
button?
Oh,
Lucas, yeah, you have to end your turn.
Sorry.
Oh, now I have to choose between the two suggested ones: a yes but, and a no but. I like both of those a lot.
yeah. Yeah. They're both really fun.
Like the tragic of you get your wish, the original wish, you clown. As you become like a vampire ravaging the land and taking all the joy.
In your dark carnival of
That-
souls.
Yeah.
Amalgam Corporation.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm tempted. If I had to if I was just getting the turn to suggest one, I would put forward the yes but and sort of twist a little bit and be like, because it would be yes, but you have to earn it in that you as your you just will now like resume your consciousness as your teenage self and get to like redirect the way your life went. So you're the like 40-year-old whatever in high, but now you're in high school in the teenage body, and that probably would be awful. But you get to try to redirect the life so you don't end up going to this zone.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's the correct final fate for our friend here.
I think Tony's is super juicy.
Yeah, I think we might have to go with no, that's not what you want. You told me what you want when you got in here. It was seeping off of you, and you, the entrepreneur, have like you've made it to the end of this gauntlet, or the beginning of it, or somewhere in between. You get that sense, and you just start taking stock of everything in this zone, and you start somehow you just start you build up your theme park, and eventually the doors open. And yeah,
It's even worse than that. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So eventually you're found outside the zone, basically like doing that. The voice you did at the very beginning when you introduced yourself to us.
Yeah.
You'll find outside of the zone on TV, advertising your
It's a
new
commercial.
Yeah, it's the commercial. You've got the $ suit on, the big green hat.
Hey everybody, Maximilian Debutante here. Come on down to the zone. I promise it's the best theme park on earth. And I think that's how he is. I think that is how he is. And like time goes on and the theme park like keeps expanding. And like you watch like the TV commercial comes on and he's like, and he does the same thing. Come on down to the zone. And it's on the map and it's just the entire United States. 5 years later, come on down to the zone. And it's the entire, like, it's both of the American continents, and it just keeps going.
Yeah, you're like the worst honeypot operation this zone could have imagined.
Yeah.
To get everybody in and move past the containment.
The honeypot keeps expanding.
Only thing better than a honeypot is an infinitely expanding honeypot.
Hey.
Ooh.
It's the sweetest.
Boy.
Thank you. Take a few minutes to debrief.
God.
Chat. And do your best.
Thank you all. That was amazing.
As part of our debrief, let's do our reaction roll, which is a live stream inside of a live stream. It's our chance to sit down with the creator of a game we just played and talk to them about making that game. This is my best Maximilian Debutante impersonation because today we are playing The Zone with Raph D'Amico, the creator, which is going to be going live on Kickstarter on September 27th. Is that correct?
That's right.
Just a scant 2.5 years after the original plan. But it's gone through so much transformation, had tons of people pick it up and play it. This is our second time to play it. We've got another play coming up next month during spooky months sometimes with Keegan and Sarah over on the Cult programming. I'm very excited to see folks back for that. But I had a great time playing tonight. Raph, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, and tell us a little bit more about The Zone as we do our debrief.
Absolutely. And oh my God, what a game. I love hearing what groups come up with. So I'm Raph. I'm the creator of The Zone. You can find me on Twitter at Raph D'Amico. You can find The Zone at TheZoneRPG.com. And what is The Zone? If you've been just tuning in for this, it is a surreal horror journey into a place that changes you into exactly what you need to become. Or not. It might turn you into something that it's just absolutely horrible or beautiful, but you will be changed.
Awesome. I loved it. I had an absolutely great time. I just tweeted out our mission report. Everybody got to watch that on stream as I did it. But no, it's been an absolute blast to play. I had a great time. But let's hear from some of our other players. Adam, let's kick it over to you. Why don't you tell us who you are and what it was like to play The Zone?
Yeah. Hey, I'm Adam. Find me on Twitter at AdamEBell. Go get my games at adamebell.games. They're good. I like The Zone a lot. I mean, the way the game kind of plays and guides you into the type of role playing that GM-less games do, I think is very, very good. Because of it's extremely structured, but also you could do whatever you want with it, which is, I mean, that's like a really good kind of end point for a GM-less game design. Is like, I've provided bones. Raph, you've provided us bones that we like get to put whatever weird meat fruit we want on the outside.
That's a quote for the webs. That's a quote for the Kickstarter page right there.
Turn it into the weirdest guy ever.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, set a scene, and then you could do whatever you want with that. But then you're like, oh, here's a prompt. Here's where you are. Here's a prompt for that. And then like the real juicy stuff are the 3 moves. I think like there's just at any point anybody can jump in. Because a lot of times in a GM list type game, because there's not somebody like driving the action forward and in charge of describing things, and so feels confident to just say, it looks like this. You just giving a button to every player to say, hey, we should say what it looks like and smells like and thinks like, and hey, it's weird and bad, and also you're going to get hurt. Just giving buttons for players to press, I think that is really cool. Not so much of a question, but like, cool for coming up with 3 good buttons.
What was it like coming up with those 3 buttons? Were there other moves that you considered, Raph?
Oh yeah, I mean so many. And look, the 3 buttons. I'm standing on the shoulders of giants here, because the goal is absolutely to create the 3 buttons that, when you press that button, it causes group creativity to happen. Mm-hmm. And so the feeling that I was trying to evoke comes from when I lived in Chicago. I got obsessed with improv, and I did improv at Second City and Improv Olympic and all over the place. I got so obsessed I was doing it 6 days a week at the height of it. It was an addiction. And in improv, you're spending like hours and hours and hours, days training on how to instinctively have those buttons within you. And you have a coach who's like hammering those buttons in you. And so I got to experience that feeling of what's it like when everyone has the instinct to jump in. But then when I was thinking about making this game, it's just pretty obvious that most people are not going to have hundreds of hours of improv training. And the beauty of tabletop games is that they give you the ability to have a set of buttons in front of you, so you don't have to spend 100 hours just mutating them into your own brain. And so, look, I want to give credit to the kind of prior art here. So Not So Easy is from an insanely amazing game that not enough people have heard about called Archipelago.
Yeah.
By Matthias Halter, and Jason Morningstar contributed a huge amount to it. And Take Stock. I mean, there's a lot of different games that play with that. But the one that really kind of blew my brain up and that inspired putting in here was Bluebeard's Bride. And so I think essentially what I did was I looked through, I started working on this right when like PBTA games are really at their height and you have character sheets full of moves. And I just started thinking, all right, I'm looking at all these games and I see all these amazing moves, but in play, I can only remember 2.5 of them. So what if I limited the game to just what my cognitive load is, which is just 3 moves, and just pick the ones that I think are going to accentuate the group creativity the most and give people the tools to do that with. And that's a principle that I think is a really interesting one, is what happens when you design games that are limited by the cognitive load of, humans like myself who just can't remember. I have mad respect for people who can GM out of a 200-page book. I've always struggled with it. So this is trying to limit it to my tiny brain, basically.
Love it. Quinn, tell people who you are, what you do, and what it was like to play The Zone.
Hi, I'm Quinn. I make games and then don't release them. You can find me on Twitter at 200proof games. That's 200proof games. You can also get me on itch at the same spot. It's so good to play The Zone again. And so how many people did we play with last time? Was it 4 or was it 3? Because I feel like I remember it wasn't 5.
I think there were 4 of us.
I think there were 4 of us.
It's interesting how different the pacing feels with 5 versus 4, for one thing. And also, of course, we started a bit late, so like there were time constraints involved. But it really changes the pacing a lot, and it's like you spend less time on the individual moves and more time in the individual scenes, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just a pretty different experience. I think, but one thing that really jumped out at me, and I'm sure it jumped out at me last time, but I don't know if I remember to say it, is I think the piece of this game that really is the best piece is something's not right, and then, oh, it's so much worse than that. Oh, it's so much worse than that is every time it happens, it is unbelievably good. Like you're talking about the improv, like what does it mean to have that instinct to be looking for opportunities and then to be able to follow up on those opportunities, right? Like I'm more of a street theater guy. I haven't done a lot of improv, but and so you have this move where like all of your moves, all three of these moves are designed for identifying opportunities and then seizing them. And you've managed to keep it so simple and so untied to any silly mechanical concerns like HP, damage, like come on, what's the point of that? This stuff is like you're just paying attention to what everyone else is doing in the fiction so that oh hey, here's a point where I can jump in. Like you're giving people these improvisational tools that then they can employ. And the best of them, in my opinion, it's so much worse than that. It's so much worse than that. Like obviously it's a heightening tool. Of course that's very explicitly what it is. But it stands out to me because it is a type of heightening tool, an additive narrative mechanic that I don't really know that I've seen elsewhere. There's lots of other games that have like, oh, this person adds a narrative thing and other people jump in. That happens constantly in lots of world building games and lots of games that are narrative first. But to have that two-stage mechanism, that rocket section 1, rocket section 2, I don't think I've ever seen anyone else do it quite that way. And it creates such a feeling of like anticipation, right? When you're the one who's setting it up and you're like, it's getting bad, like you're getting ready to throw it, and then you throw it and the person's like, it's even worse than that. Out of the fucking park every time. It's really it's a special, in terms of how it is directing the flow of spiritual energy, excitement, attention. It's doing it in a very unique and incredibly effective way.
And it's just fun to say, and it's even worse than that.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have an idea.
There's I can unpack it a little bit too, because I think there might be some stuff you dig. It's fun to say feeling is something that I've reflected on for many, many years. And the first time that feeling like really popped into my head as a design goal was at a CeeLo Green concert. You know that song "Fuck You," right? And you get to the chorus, it's like "fuck you" and na, 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 and like everyone's like humming along, going like na, 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 and then you get to that bit, and everyone's like ah, and everyone just absolutely, or the chorus of any song, it's like everyone's like na, 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 "Sweet Caroline." It's kind of like it feels so good to say words. Even I don't know, like a Paul McCartney song when it's just na na na, like anything that people can sing along to. It's like I think the beauty of the sing along, or the beauty of that kind of art form, is when you have the alibi to say something you've really been wanting to say, and the thing gives you that permission, and it's so freeing.
Well, and I think it touches on something Adam just said, but also that it touches on a little bit of improv, like the being able to say it even if you don't know what you're going to say afterwards, or even if you don't have the idea yet. There's an old improv technique that's like, just go ahead and say, I know exactly what to do here, and then start walking, and by the time you've taken a couple steps towards whatever it is, you'll have come up with something, right? Like if you just commit to the fact that you have that idea, your brain will immediately start to fill in those gaps and give you whatever the next thing is. You don't actually have to have the idea when you say it, but by the time you're done saying it, you're usually going to be like, and if you just say something that's worse, it doesn't matter. It's always going to be worse, right? And so the it is. I absolutely love it. Lucas, tell people who you are, what you do, and what it was like to play the Zone.
I'm Lucas. I make games. You can find me at Twitter or Facebook, or mostly at Ichu. I have a blog also that, besides games, I post eventually some thoughts on this blog. It's linked on my Twitter. Thanks for having me once again, Raphael. It's amazing game. I love the platform. You know, it's really great, and how it works well, and how it explains the whole thing, and how it's, you know, how it flows with the games very well. I really like story games. I don't play them a lot. I mostly play OSR games and fantasy games, but I really like story games, and mostly as inspirations and as tools to make or to create scenarios or create adventures, or, you know, use it eventually at my games. And I think that this game has, I was thinking about all the time that this game has lots of tools that, you know, we could use at a dungeon. It's it's not good, but it could be even worse. You know, how it could goes with these tools, these free buttons that works a lot, like, you know, tools for narrative tools that can be used in other games and other sort of games. I hope you publish this as CCBI 4.0, because I want to, you know, steal some ideas from you. And your games. Use at my own.
Please steal everything.
Yeah.
Seriously, I strongly believe everything is a remix. I give credit to the things that this game wouldn't exist without the things that came before it, and I'm so encourage everyone, if you see anything that you like, steal it. Also, if you want to mod the game, there's modding tools, but steal it for your own stuff. It's really, everything we build is built on top of the shoulders of folks.
I will for sure tell my friends down here in Brazil to try it. And I don't know if the platform is for free. It's free or not. Yeah, it's free.
Yeah. Digital version forever free.
Yeah, I will spread the word, and I'm sure that a lot of people down here will gladly play it. I will with my friends for sure, with my actual group, weekly group. We are looking for a game this Sunday. I just messaged them that we are going to play this Sunday. Yeah, because it's amazing, man. It's really great, and thank you for having me. Thank you for making the game. Yeah, you know, it was a lot of philosophical and a lot of reflective thoughts that come to my mind with the game. Also, I thought about a lot of things, and it helped me. It really helped me this night, and some thoughts I will bring for life. Thank you.
Wow.
The Zone really is a brain expanding
it is.
game.
And like, I had a really good time, and I do feel like, especially playing the, I think especially playing it the second time, like this time we didn't take as many like hard moves. We didn't take as many like not so easies in this game as we did in the last one. We still worked towards death really well, but there was a lot more like, we did a lot more meta plot crossover, a lot more paying attention to each other's phobias than we did last time, to think you benefit from any game on repeated plays, and every time you play it, there's going to be different iterations of how things come up and what comes up. The good thing is the zone works equally well no matter how much of those things you do in any sort of specific iteration. By the time you've got to the end, the mechanics are very simple, but very elegant. So the different iterations all work together very seamlessly, and I think that's such a great compliment to taking a very minimalist idea, right, of all these different like simple broken down pieces, like you said, kind of getting it down to these core components you want people to do, looking at how they intermix, and then making sure that all the different ways they intermix work out with each other. And so I'm always super excited about this. I can't remember if I asked last time, but I do remember every time I look at it, I am curious, do you track the statistical data on how often different types of characters make it to the middle of the center?
I have that data. I should pull it because it would be really fun to know which characters people are picking.
I am super interested. I also am very interested
better.
who survives the most, who dies first most often. That's also just fun stuff to drop in the Kickstarter campaign also too, is just like weird data stuff. Like, but I was just thinking because the entrepreneur made it to the center last time we played. Also, I was playing the entrepreneur.
Oh, did he? That's true.
And
when I played last,
I was like, I wonder how often the capitalist makes it to the middle and just refuses to give up. And some of that's randomized, but during ours, there were a lot of people who kept on like jumping in and taking fate from each, and so there's a lot of different ways it can come out. I'm just curious to see like what that looks like. A lot of us, like, especially I think because of time constraints, like when our card came up, we were like, all right, we're going to die. Right. Last time I feel like we played, it was a lot of like back and forth, sometimes even multiple times of somebody grabbing the fate from somebody else. Like I said, I think that's all interesting and was just curious. Like, I know that like you're not stealing people's information, but I also know that the system itself probably gathers some of that data. So I just think it's very, very cool to see that case from a digital implementation, and people got to see the digital. But I think that, again, there's people, I've been watching some of the comments and other stuff online who are like, but what are we getting? Are we getting this digital? Are we getting the other thing? I know you have prototypes. Like, tell us a little bit about the physical product you are kickstarting for.
Real quick before that, I just want to say counterpoint, Tony. Raph, I think you should steal people's data. I think you've earned it.
Look,
well, this is part of the beauty. This is part of the beauty of keeping it free. Is I don't have anyone's data. Nobody's giving me. You don't have to make an account. You don't have to give me your email address.
Okay, what I'm saying is you should.
But you can, and like people have right now.
I don't want to. But
right now, 1,658 people have given Raph their email so that they can get notified when the zone goes live.
That's true.
If you want to give me your data, such as your email address, and to follow the Kickstarter, now that I will gladly take. But it's interesting. I think that's God, there's so many directions to go in. Tony, I will get back to you because I'm actually very curious. And frankly, if the entrepreneur is getting in the center a little bit too often, I might have to add a little bit of code just to kind of just make sure that doesn't happen as often. Just we can't let the capitalists win.
Was it really winning?
True.
Rarely ever. And this time, kind of.
It's true. We'll have to decide which direction the code goes. And then, in terms of the game, so all the principles that, if I were to boil down the whole game, it's basically how do you create an experience that you can just play out of the box. It was, in a way, it's not exactly the way that I wanted it to happen, but getting to make the digital version was a huge, kind of a huge privilege from that perspective, because it really pushed me to create a completely standalone experience, which is what I'd been playtesting towards. And so the goal is to have all the things in the box that you would need to just literally get the shrink wrapped thing with your friends around the box in zero prep, cut open the shrink wrap, open the box, and just start playing, just like we did today.
Mm-hmm.
So the digital version, so if you're asking what's in the box, so the digital version,
what's in the box?
What's in the box? The highest Kickstarter tier can be the head of a loved one. Spoiler alert. Sorry. I got price down at incredibly weird to people who haven't seen a particular movie that if I say the name, now I will have spoiled. But
Yeah.
anyway,
So you can't.
I can't. It can't happen. So the what you saw at the beginning of this playthrough, this kind of scripted, you read it all together version, is what was play tested at cons and in organized play tests and remote play tests. It was this kind of standalone book. It's a little bit different than a lot of books. Most books are aimed at the person who bought the game to read the game and plan it or run it for their players. The main book, which is, we've all fallen in love, right, with what Mothership did and that lovely matte zine style finish thing. So it's one of those that's designed to be read at the table, just as we did. There's a deck of locations, and there's a few more than in this digital version. There's a whole other set of indoor ones, for example. If you want to do a weird zone that is just infinite House of Leaves style home. There's the scene cards, the not so easy cards you played with. A lot of what you saw in the digital version is going to be in the box. The digital version is designed to be completely compatible in the way to learn the boxed version. There's a couple of new things though. So one of the new things is, in order to make it truly pick up and play, there's going to be a deck of character cards, which are just gorgeous, illustrated by comic artist called Eric Whalen. And there's going to be a deck of phobias and mutation and obsessions that you can kind of pick apart. So you can create a character just in 2 seconds by grabbing a character archetype, a phobia, and an obsession. And I'm completely in love with this, but I realized that, as is the case of our psychology, often our phobias and our obsessions can be flip sides of the same thing. So each card can be a phobia and an obsession. You'll still be able to get there'll be character sheets. So if you want to write more, if you want to come up with your own stuff, you can totally do that. But I really wanted that principle being able to play out of the box to live free. Then there's 2 more things. That's a lot in the box. So one is another zine that's just going to be a whole bunch of tables, just mutation tables, anomalies, stuff like that. And that's a principle of scaffolding. I really want people to always have a place to go if they're stuck. And so every keyword in the game will have a table. So beasts and anomalies. And I think that will be a lot of fun for the zone. It's also something that you could use for any other game that you're running that needs to have beasts and anomalies and creatures and mutations and stuff like that. I think people love that one. And then the final thing, which is going to be kind of one tier up in the Kickstarter, is a 3rd book called the Book of Twists. And this one is, I'm so excited about this. So one thing I noticed in playing the game was that, as you pointed out, Adam, it's the bones. But you can really make it your own. And so I thought, what would it be like if I took, 15 TTRPG writers that I really, really like, and just asked them to just write a twist on the zone, a different briefing, maybe a twist on their rules, or like have a few extra cards or some different characters or that kind of stuff. They've been coming through, and I'm going to start announcing them over the next few weeks and over the Kickstarter. But, there's a zone that is infinite weird House of Leaves style house. And there's a zone that's like a strange simulation that you're going to the center of. There's a zone that is like a erotic B-movie studio that is disreputable and it's kind of sucking you into its abyss. There's a zone where time is occurring in strange ways. So different than what happened today, I will say. There's it's just pure darkness, just darkness. Everything is dark. Nobody can see. But there's a table with the different kinds of darkness, because there's so many ways that things can be dark, and so on. So that's what's going to be in the box. There's going to be a lot of goodies, and a lot of art by some great artists that commissioned, and I think people are going to really love it.
Awesome. I'm really excited about it. We don't normally do this, but I am going to go ahead and Adam, Lucas, and Quinn, y'all won't be able to hear this. We're going to play the Kickstarter video for the audience. They will be able to hear it. So we're just going to be quiet for 1 minute and 29 seconds. Or you can go over to YouTube and watch along with us. But this is the wonderful Kickstarter video to just wet your whistle a little bit more about the Zone.
It's pretty good.
So good.
How many glow sticks come in the box?
This is completely ridiculous, but I kind of have to do it. But the top Kickstarter.
I'm so excited about this level. Like, I can't wait to hit the button on this level.
the top Kickstarter tier, the game will in fact come.
Oh my god!
In a Pelican case, or this is a Nanook case with enough 10-inch glow sticks to light up your table.
That's awesome.
It's so stupid. Nobody should order it. But yeah, there you go. This is my prototype.
But I've already said I'm going to do it. So
my favorite thing when people have a Kickstarter is when they, or like a Patreon or anything, is when they have a tier that's like, you shouldn't get this.
Don't
It's
do it.
stupid.
don't do it. It's a bad idea. No one needs to spend this much money. I'm super excited to get that level. I think it's great. We're gonna make some custom weird zone stickers and slap it on the outside also too. It's gonna be wonderful. I'm very excited. Come September 27th to Kickstarter. I can't wait to play again. We're gonna be playing sometime again next month. Raph hopefully will be back on to play with Keegan, Sarah, and some of the Cult crew here on Plus One EXP. You can catch all of our past content over on YouTube. We have a lot of streams going on this week. Like I said, tomorrow we are playing Apocalypse Keys. Sunday, we're streaming making some GURPS characters and talk about why I love GURPS and things. It is a great game, contrary to apparently people for years thought I was jokingly talking about loving GURPS as opposed to sincerely and honestly talking about loving GURPS. And then on Monday, to celebrate Labor Day, we got some blue collar belt mining action with Dead Belt, which launches on Monday also from a couple of Drakes. They're going to be on playing with us and talking to us about the game. I got to figure out how to run Roll20 as part of that. I've never done that before. I mean, we've had it on stream before. I've just never run it before. And so
Sure.
going to figure that out between now and then. And I'm very excited about all the great things that we have coming up. We've got some phenomenal reviews, and I'll have more of my thoughts on the zone coming in a TLDP later on this month to the YouTube channel also. We've never figured out a good way to close these streams out. And at this point, we're not even going to try. All of us are just going to wave at the screen until I take us offline. Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming to play. Have a great night.
Goodbye.
Good night.